Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Hudson deals. Swung on and hit in the air to left field and deep. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. It's a grand slam. Anthony Volpe put a charge in one. A grand slam to left field, and the Yankees now take a 5-2 lead.
Who else? John Sterling on WFAN. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All right, we got a series, Pearl. Are you ready to start jumping back into the World Series? And maybe perhaps the Yankees can make this a little more interesting than it had been through the first three games. It's now 3-1. Hello and good morning.
But for the first time, I have a little bit, just a scunch of nerves to say it's done. Just a little bit.
On like the Dodgers side of things.
Yeah, like that the World Series is over because no one's ever come back from 3-0 in a World Series. So yesterday, of course, I said it's over.
Yeah.
And right now, I consider myself a man of numbers, an analytic person. It's still over, but it doesn't feel as over as it did yesterday. In the sense that I think the Dodgers went up and they figured, oh, you know what? The Yankees' bats are dead. What's the point? Like, we're going to win this game. And then we saw something different.
Yeah.
So I would say, if I want to quantify it, 5%? No, 3%.
Whoa. So you're saying there's a chance. I mean 3% is nothing.
What's your sense?
The way I'm feeling this morning is there's still no shot. If the Yankees win tonight, though, and if they can send this series back to L.A., then I think the pressure really gets put on L.A. at that point. You know, I think the Dodger fans will probably be positive and welcoming, but you can't tell me they're not going to be a little bit nervous if the Yankees do force this thing back to L.A. And it's funny because sports is like that sometimes, where the team that gets down gets desperate and starts playing a little bit freer, a little nothing to lose. Then all of a sudden, the pressure completely switches. Now, that hasn't happened yet. That will only happen if tonight, Garrett Cole, Jack Flaherty, if Garrett Cole pitches like the guy he's paid to be, then this should be an epic game from him, and this should be a Yankees win. You do have the advantage on the mound tonight, and it's been all about the Yankee bats. They came through last night. But yeah, some numbers to it. So no one's ever even forced a game 6 after having gone down 0-3 in a World Series. So you're looking at something that'd be historic and unprecedented. And again, we're not even close to being there yet. You do have, though, teams that have come back from down 3-1. And the last one was famously the Cubs and the Cleveland now Guardians. And that was one of the most epic World Series that we've had. So it's either going to go one of two ways, the way I see it. It's going to go quietly into the night tonight, and the Dodgers will be celebrating. Or perhaps we get a shot at something really historic. So I'm rooting for the historic just because I like baseball and I want to see more of it. But if the Yankees win tonight, the pressure does flip to the Dodgers, in my opinion.
Well, let me ask you this. The Yankees have these issues, right? Aaron Judge not hitting. I got on base last night. Gave him a lot of credit for that.
The bullpen for the Dodgers was, this is the bullpen game. This is what happens. You got to use 8 or 9 guys to get through a game. One of them may not have it.
Well, I think Dave Roberts was smart not using his best relievers toward the end. I would have done the same thing. But the Yankees still have these problems. They're not great base running. They're really not great fielding. I worry about, it's funny. In our production call last night, we were ripping Aaron Boone for moving the lineup around and putting Jazz Chisholm behind Aaron Judge. That kind of worked out. But I wonder, are those bats going to come to life? Because if they do, then it's really scary. If those bats in the middle of the lineup, other than Stanton. So maybe there's a thing here, but I worry that the same mistakes that have been dooming the Yankees all series long will come back tonight.
Listen, last night was about a little redemption, actually, for guys who had made mistakes and then ended up coming back and kind of freeing themselves from them. So Anthony Volpe, who you heard with the Grand Slam, he becomes the hero from last night as a local person. I live 10 minutes from his high school, just randomly. But he had this base running sort of gaffe where he was on second and took too long to tag up on a fly ball that maybe he could have scored on. Now he ends up scoring anyway, but he sort of was wearing it after that. And then Gleyber Torres, who's just a butcher when he's in the field. This is not a good fielder. And he, to start a double play, Perloff, he tossed the ball a little too high to Volpe, gave Freddie Freeman a chance to leg out a single, and it got overturned. How Freddie Freeman is doing this, again, hits a home run, gets to first and allows the run to score, and then Gleyber Torres ends up hitting a 3-run home run later in the game to really put it away.
Are we done with the Freddie Freeman Kirk Gibson comparison after he legged that out? The guy can move again. But regardless, you know what? That wasn't so bad a play. I understand what the Smoltz got into that. That wasn't like an egregious error. It was a little high, and they almost got him.
No, it's just the history of Glaber. That's the only thing. Yes, that one wasn't so egregious. But if you watch Glaber a lot, you know this dude just cannot get it. He is just focus or whatever or ability. I don't know. He's a talented guy, but he's awful out there generally. And then, so you got the Yankees winning. We're asking you, if they win tonight, do you think this is on? And can the pressure get put on the Dodgers? I think this game will be remembered for a couple things if the Yankees make it a big comeback. It'll be remembered for the Volpe Grand Slam. By the way, he's only hit 2 home runs since August. Like, this was not in the cards. This wasn't Stanton hitting a Grand Slam. This one was very improbable. And the 2 idiots who interfered with Mookie Betts in the first inning. Who do these 2 jabronis think they are? I mean, you've got to be the lamest, dumbest. I mean, it's clueless. There's not enough adjectives for this kind of behavior. And if you missed it, it was actually Glaber. Glaber hits a pop-up, basically. It's in foul territory in right field. Mookie Betts screaming over to the wall to try to make the play, does make the play, catches the ball in foul territory. And this dude...
You jabroni!
opens up Mookie Betts' glove and rips the ball out while his clown friend is holding Mookie Betts' other hand by the wrist. These 2 bozos have to get excommunicated from New York. And in fact, the opposite is happening. They're season ticket holders, and they're actually going to get let back in the building for tonight's game. Excommunicated
from New York? I feel like they should be a statue made of these guys. I mean, Jeffrey Mayer is one of the great all-time New York sports heroes. And counterpoint, it worked in the SEC. The Texas fans interfered with the game and got the call right. I just think this is the era of fans affecting games. Might as well give it a shot. What's the downside? I'm joking. Of course, they're idiots. But
downside, they could have dislocated Mookie Betts' wrist.
If they had been a little more subtle, they could have messed up that catch. They just sort of typical New Yorkers and over the top. If you're going to interfere, you got to sort of make it look like an accident.
Yeah, right. Take a cue from some of the 5 families here in the Mafia. Make it look like an accident. This was the most blatant, aggressive. This is the worst. If they say sports is always the doorstep of any university, or they say that for a city, then this was the worst advertisement for New York you could possibly have. 2 idiots acting like aggressive losers who feel like they're entitled to everything. This is the worst we have to offer as New Yorkers. I hate this, that these 2 guys are going to be the poster child. We're not all like that.
We don't claim them.
Yeah, we don't. But meanwhile, you're right. The Jeffrey Mayer, though, we're going back to the 1996 ALCS with the Yankees and the Orioles. At least that was a homer. These 2 dopes are in foul territory.
Well, I would argue,
he's still in hiding. I mean,
you might get away with it in foul territory. Homer is so obvious, that
they didn't have replay back then.
Back then, and the umpires were over the top pro Yankees. Now it's a little. You got to be more subtle. Honestly, if they'd executed their interference better, maybe we're not talking about this the same way.
They couldn't execute it better because Mookie Betts made the catch. That's it. It was to Tony Tarasco. Maybe it was a little bit of a dicey situation. This dude, Mookie had it.
I think they were in the post-5 beer era of the night. If they were between 2 and 5, maybe a little subtlety, Maggie. Maybe just. First of all, again, you desperately want your team to win. I kind of get the reason they did it. It was just poorly executed. They got to do it better next time. One more game in Yankee Stadium.
I can't believe these guys are being let back in the building. I know you're a season ticket holder. You look at a ticket. If you ever turn around the back of the ticket, right? Yep. It's just miles of fine print. I've never stopped to read any of that because nobody does, except for lawyers, I guess. It has to say somewhere in those millions of miles of fine print, if you touch one of the players while they're trying to make a play, you're gone for good. As you should be. You can't touch Mookie Betts. What's the matter with you?
The Dodgers fans will not do this. but they should just attack the Yankee outfielders at those short porches at Dodger Stadium. Just anything near, just jump right on the field and tackle Aaron Judge. I don't care.
Oh my gosh, rules just don't apply anymore. What happened to rules?
The society?
The issue is after they blatantly try to rip the ball out the glove and then grab the wrist, they proceeded to say that he passed like the foul territory, so they have a right to touch him.
Yeah. They said that?
Yes.
He was like,
he's like, this is my territory. I'm like, what is this, stand your ground? Like, it's a freaking baseball game. Yeah. When did we just stopped doing rules? When was that?
What if Mookie was interfering with their nachos? Now, we can all respect that because that's a delicate balance. You buy nachos at a stadium, they cost $30, and then to get it down to your seat is an achievement without spilling it. Then you got players coming in and ruining it. I should be the one
victim here.
I should be the one guy in America defending these two idiots. I'm not a huge fan of Yankee fans. I'm not going to lie to you, Maggie. I don't consider myself a New Yorker in any possible way.
No, you're Philadelphia. Your fandom got a whole bunch of other issues.
Yeah, if this was, we wouldn't even be talking about it if it was an Eagles fan because that would just be business as usual. But. Yeah, this was obviously totally egregious. You're exactly right. You nailed. This is going to be like the image for the next 30 years. Hey, what's a Yankee fan look like? Here we go.
This dude with the double chin trying to grab the ball out of Mookie Betts' hand. Hey, Austin Capobianco. That's his name.
The Yankees now better win this series because if they lose this series, all we're going to talk about is, man, they got smoked and their fans had to try to get in the game in order to even win one. That's all we're going to think about.
Like Bartman.
Yeah, exactly.
But these guys, I think when Bartman happened with the Cubs and the Florida Marlins, and obviously the Cubs, that turned the game, and the Cubs end up losing, and the curse continued and all that. I think we were still perhaps a rule-following society at that point. I don't think we'd fully crossed over to where we are now, where the more anarchy, the more you're celebrated.
Maggie.
The more you just openly skirt the rules, the law, whatever it is, you are just now propped up on a pedestal. Like these two dudes. You
youngins, you have no idea what it used to be like. It used to be the fans would fight hockey players every third game. Like, you think, like, Malice at the Palace was not an accident. There was a lot of fan interaction back in the day. That's why the NBA had to change their rules, because they were building towards Malice at the Palace.
That's
like, it used to get way more physical. And maybe it's because I grew up in Philly, but trust me, this is not, like, you think fans are so much better behaved now than they were 30 years ago. 30 years ago, it was utter chaos at a lot of these stadiums.
I remember Robert Parrish going into the stands, right? Because someone was saying something to his wife. Like, yes, there's hockey players. That's like with assault.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think stadiums are way more bougie than they used to be. Now it's like $40 for a beer, and I don't know. I'm surprised those guys got that tickets. They're
season ticket holders. So obviously, they're rich idiots.
Yeah.
So, awesome. The best type.
I honestly don't think stadiums are more chaotic, but this is interesting that you get guys like that who can get that. I'm like, thank God, that's good for baseball generally, that real fans are there. And it's not like we go to a Super Bowl and it's a corporate crowd.
Yeah.
The World Series, I figured, is a World Series like a real baseball crowd?
Yeah. I mean, you're in your home stadium,
yeah.
So you should. I mean, the Super Bowls, it's a neutral field.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's all go to Atlanta for, in the Falcons, or they had a season where they won 7 games, This is you're in your home stadium. Yankees haven't been in the World Series in 15 years. It's a huge deal. And I just think I can't imagine how these two guys, but even a season ticket holder, how do you let this guy back in the building? I just don't get it.
No, he should be done for life. I mean, if we look back at what fans have done to be done for life, like, this is easily falls in that category.
Oh my goodness. The guy's grabbing Mookie Betts' wrist. I mean, the ripping the ball out of the glove thing is just insane, but you can't be grabbing onto a guy like that.
This is the Yankees playing the result, because if Mookie got hurt, which could have happened, grabbing a wrist like that, there's no way they're letting him back in the building.
I'm surprised,
which is why this is corny.
I'm surprised MLB is not pressuring the Yankees to do something about that, because it's an embarrassing look for them, too.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they want any part of this.
Really? Okay.
They don't want to start litigating this. They're unpopular enough. Rob Manfred. He's not, yeah. Anyway, 855-212-4227.
I grew up the Phillies used to play the Mets in the 80s, and it was hot nights in Philadelphia, and everybody was drunk, and often there'd be bat night. It was just like...
Oh, my God, what a terrible combination.
Have you ever seen the movie, you guys, it's an old movie from the 70s, like late 70s, called The Warriors, where it's just everybody... That was a Phillies-Mets game.
Yeah.
It used to be way
But that was like New York in the 70s.
Yeah,
Really unhinged.
sports used to be so much cooler back in the day. Like Eagles games, it's just like fights and booze and kegs in the stands. Now it's way watered down. I don't think that we've lost control of sports. This felt like more of a one-off to me.
Okay, EJ, can you put this up on the poll on Maggie and Perloff X? Are fans better behaved today or back in the day?
Back in the day.
Are fans better now or back in the day in terms of their behavior? Because you're right about Eagles fans. I've got some Eagles fans in my life, not just you, like I'm related to them by marriage. And these are Ivy League educated people who will go to an Eagles Cowboys games and literally get in fist fights. I'm like, what happened to you guys? Is there a full moon? How did you turn into your regular, normal, law-abiding people, get you against Eagles Cowboys, and all of a sudden you're in some kind of holding cell underneath the stadium?
That's a great point. I mean, there's got to be real metrics on this, too. Is there more or less fan interference in games? I'm not sure. I don't think of baseball right now as where if there's a foul ball near the stands, it's going to be a wild scene. This felt like kind of a unique thing to me. I did not expect that. Maybe I'm not paying enough attention.
I cannot disagree more with this take. Because
you're a Miami Hurricane fan. Did you ever see what that old stadium was like for the Miami Hurricanes?
Oh, no, that was great. But in terms of like fights and issues, I mean, we have a viral fight from a football game or a basketball game every week.
Yeah.
But that's because everyone has a camera phone now.
Every week we're seeing guys bleeding, leaving stadiums. We had, what's the guy in the Angels slapping a guy at the A's stadium last year on opening night. Like,
that's just the phones, dude.
We have a lot of incidents. Russell Westbrook's trying to fight fans pretty much every game. Like, I think
some
that
of them get really serious, too.
Yeah, it's getting raunchy. I think there was a period where it got okay, and I think recently it's gotten worse. I think post-pandemic, people don't know how to act because I see viral fights and issues with fans and players every single week.
Right, but to Perloff's point, he feels like he was seeing all that back in the day, just no phones.
We didn't have...
But we had phones in 2018, we weren't seeing this. It's way more now.
That's interesting, but I see what you're saying. So recently it's on an uptick, but it can't be like I remember this, like, what was the Mouse Palace 2004?
Yeah.
That was building for a long, long time. Like the NBA, because the fans are on top of the court and the players were all roided out of their heads. Like it was do you remember the energy around the Heat Knicks in the 90s? Like there was a lot of violence in the air. That's how I felt at games. And I don't feel that way
Red Sox
anymore.
People used to fight in the stands.
Oh, well.
The funniest part of this, and by the way, you can call in at 855-212-4227. Our fans' behavior, is it worse today than it was back in the day, or is it actually better? Perloff thinks it's better now. It's a little bit more, I think it's way more expensive to go to games. So you'd think that would lead to better behavior, but as we all know a couple rich people, it doesn't mean that they're any classier than any of us. But still, the funniest fan fights to me is when people get in fights at boxing matches or at UFC events, like mixed martial arts. I'm like, are you really just watching that and then doing it?
Pretty much.
Do you really think this is going to be more entertaining? We're already watching two people fight. We don't need you.
I mean, there are people who feel like the reason why, Pac unfortunately, died, but like prior to that shooting, there was a Mike Tyson fight. And a lot of people feel like, Pac was someone, Tupac I'm talking about, was someone who was, he kind of lived off emotion. And a lot of people felt like he got into the fight prior to the shooting because he was at a Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson knocked some guy out in 2 minutes. And then, Pac's up on aggression, and then he bumps into a guy, and then it starts a scuffle. Ooh. There's definitely that kind of energy.
Wow. Imagine if there's so many conspiracy theories around the Tupac, if it was just something as simple as adrenaline from a boxing match.
Yeah, there's video cameras of him walking. There's video camera of him walking around like really pumped up because of the fight.
I know Maggie wants to go 10 levels deeper on that one.
50.
Our friend Jeff Perlman has a book on the Tupac coming out. I'm curious if there's going to be conspiracy stuff in there.
Sorry, you were about to say something else.
Oh, no. I just, I think it's the phones or what's different, EJ. I think back in the day, well, you grew up as a Mets fan. I mean, God, Shea Stadium was wild.
I know, but I grew up upstate.
Oh, you had that lovely Binghamton Mets. Yeah,
the Binghamton Mets didn't cause as many fights.
I don't know. I mean, again,
I saw fights in high school. I mean, there was stuff like that, but that's just like kids' testosterone. That sort of stuff happens all over the country.
I mean, we did just see an incident again where people are throwing bottles on the field at Texas. I don't know if we're really seeing this get worse.
I don't know. I feel like The stuff, throwing stuff on the field definitely has gotten better.
Well, Boomer Esiason down the hall, that happened in one of his games, remember? When he was a Bengal.
Yeah, that's been going on for years. Yeah. Actually, that if anything, that's steady. But throwing stuff on the field is a tradition as old as time. I think it's better.
855-212-4227. You're not allowed to have bottle caps anymore. Maybe that's doing it.
Or bottles. They pour it in plastic cups now.
That's true. Didn't stop the Texas fans from chucking them all on the field. Are fans better behave now or back in the day? We're asking because of the two jabronis last night who interfered with Mookie Betts, who are being let back in the
loser.
who being let back in the building today.
Yeah, see, I see those guys. I'm like, those are old school Yankee fans.
They're from Connecticut.
But they're like they're not new school. The new school Yankee fan is on his phone, like posting on Instagram about this. Mookie Betts got close to us. I got to get this up there.
Yeah, there's something, too, about just wanting to be part of it, feeling like you're part of it. And not in a way like the fans running on the field after Hank Aaron broke the home run record, which, Craig Sagan.
By the way, that was a mess.
And that's a mess. And that was terrible to, infringe on somebody's moment that they've worked hard for that you've done nothing for. But I think fans want to be part of it now or feel entitled to be part of it. 855-212-4227. All right, get going with a little fan talk. We've got a major update on one quarterback situation in the NFL. So we'll get to that too. Maggie and Perloff, glad to have you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I do have a metric on fan violence and whether it's better or worse.
We're asking this off of the Yankee game last night where two jabronis interfered with Mookie Betts, got kicked out of the game.
So in 2002 at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, there were 309 arrests at the 8 home Eagles games.
I thought you were about to say at one game. I was like, what was there?
309.
Okay, sorry.
There was famously a jail at the vet. Yeah. In 2003, they moved to the Lincoln Financial Field. It went down to 79, and they brought the jail over, and then they phased out the jail because fan violence became so much less.
Wow, there's no jail under Lincoln Financial?
I think it actually is still there, but they don't. I'm reading that they don't use it anymore. So this was in the late 90s. They had to put a jail in the stadium. Like that, to me, that was violence. And the NFL, I'm reading the New York Times, the NFL put out a new fan code last year, and they're like, you have to understand social media makes this look much worse than it is. Fan violence is actually way down. It's just when one fight gets on to a social media platform, it looks like every game is like that. Yeah. That's what the NFL said. And I think there's something to that. I do think the camera phones make the violence seem more, seems like it's everywhere. I don't know if that's the case.
Let's go to Dan in California. By the way, we're asking today, is fan behavior worse now than it was back in the day? Dan, what do you think?
Oh, Furlong, you just beat me to the punch barely there. Yeah, I agree. I'm 65, and I think it was much worse back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I just looked up Malice in the Palace. I didn't realize it was that late. It was 2004 in Detroit. That thing was so nasty. And, the referees in the NBA, Michael Jordan, his first 2 or 3 seasons, he always had a protector because it was so, violent out there, especially when they played the Knicks. And I remember a game, I hope I remember this right. I think it was in Minnesota when the Vikings were in the outdoor stadium, that the fans were upset at the end of the game, and they were throwing bottles, and one hit a referee and knocked him out. You remember that?
I don't remember that, Dan. That, but you can see how it would happen, and thank you for the call. And bottles now generally are not even, you can't even get them, right? It's either plastic, number one, or
they
two,
take the cap off.
They take the cap off, or they'll put it in a cup, or whatever.
There was a show on HBO recently about the 80s Lakers, and they talked about the Lakers-Celtics rivalry in back then, and it seemed incredibly violent. There was basically the scene where the Celtics fans were chasing the Lakers bus and throwing rocks at it. And I don't know if that was fictionalized a little bit. I wasn't there, but still, it felt like there was more potential for a dangerous interaction with fans back in the day. Now, I mean, maybe there is, but are players actually scared of the fans? I feel like
I don't think that.
I feel like they're more annoyed by them.
I think I think maybe the social media part probably annoys them the most because that's just looking at your mentions and everyone's like, you're a bum, you're a loser, and that stuff I think definitely bothers them.
There might be, by the way, I don't know. I mean, maybe there is a feeling. I can't imagine, especially in the NBA because the fans are so close. Maybe you do feel a little bit of danger.
Bill is in Houston. Bill, hello.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I think the interactions with the fans are worse today. You have to pass through a metal detector when you go into a stadium today. That was not the case 30 years ago. But I really believe that any time a fan becomes part of the game, where they're putting their hands on a player, football, it would seem to take care of itself because if a guy runs onto a field, players are protected and the guy's going to get crushed. But at a baseball game, like you pointed out, Mookie Betts, he could have had his glove taken off his hand, a dislocated finger, a wrist injury. They were right next to his head, his eyes. Just for example, the Houston Texans game on Sunday, Tank Dell jumped into the stands after a touchdown, and there was a fan for the other team, a Colts fan there, and they were congratulating him. He just stood there and watched. But a player has to think, what if that guy was angry? And what if he was mentally unbalanced? And I would worry if I was a player today. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Bill, thank you. And that's why, you're right about that. And thankfully, none of that happened here. But this is why we're so surprised that these two guys are getting let back into the game tonight. I get it. You're a season ticket holder, but you also acted like a loser.
I actually didn't even know that. They're going to be there tonight?
Well, they're allowed back in the stadium.
Unbelievable. That is incredible.
I mean, seriously, what does being a Yankee season ticket holder buy you? Apparently, get out of jail free.
Immunity.
Yeah, immunity forever. What do you have to do to get your season ticket revoked, if not that? Andrew Bogusch is back with us today. Bogusch, how you feeling, pal?
I'm okay, guys. It's good to see both of you.
We assumed that you were trying to avoid an eventual not safe for work Andrew Perloff Halloween costume, and you were just going to be out this whole week.
Kind of right. I was developing, I thought, a disease that would create a buffer around me to keep Perloff and his loose clothing and short clothing away from me. So we'll see.
Let me ask you a question. Who'd you get a concerned note from? From me, obviously. Did Maggie send you a note?
That is the interesting development of the last 72 hours.
Wait, what do you mean?
I only heard from Perloff.
Okay.
Not you, not EJ.
Hold on 1 second. I said to Perloff, I was like, man, do you think Bogusch is okay? You're like, yeah, I reached out to him. He's fine. He just has a bad cold. I said, do you think I should also text him? And Perloff said, nah, I got it. I did it.
I don't remember this conversation.
We had this conversation. I was like, nah, all right, I'm not going to bother him. Clearly, he's not really sick.
I also asked the question last night, and Perloff also said, oh, he's fine.
See,
I talked to him.
Perloff was just setting himself up to, I guess now he wants to be friends.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm a concerned coworker.
Yeah.
I'm like the nice guy around here. I guess you guys are just too into your own worlds to reach out to Bogusch. I guess that's what.
You talked me out of it.
I'll be honest, and this is not a bit. I was out Monday, and then I didn't come in Tuesday. When the email went out about Tuesday, of 90 minutes passed. I'm like, I probably would have reached out to somebody by now if they were out for a second straight day. And then my phone buzzed. And it was Perloff. I'm like, my buddy's here.
Yeah.
And then nothing else. So it was noted.
Oh my God. I said, should I text him? And you were like, no, I got it. I did it for the both of us.
How did I even get that far, though, is the question. Why are you 72 hours later asking him if you should check in?
No, that was after 24 hours.
You didn't even know if he was alive.
I almost texted, are you alive? I was like, that might be misconstrued.
I don't know.
Right.
Sure seems like there's one good person in the room right now.
Oh, my gosh.
The power rankings have
I'm going to defend
changed.
myself and say that my thing is I never know if it's something super personal. So my thing is, if it's very personal, he can handle it. I don't want to be asking him.
Although we may have known when Dave Marinick's email went out and said Bogusch is not going to be in.
Yeah.
If it was something serious, he probably wouldn't have been messing around like that.
I didn't even notice that. Bogusch is now ingrained in my brain. I say it all the time in my apartment. Andrea hates it. I just saw that. And thought it was normal.
I even met this woman, and she already hates my name. Great. The news gets better.
Well, we were thinking about you.
Were you?
Was. And I was saying your name all weekend because I do it every weekend.
I'm pretty sure I sent things to Maggie's house last time she was sick.
You did reach out.
Checked if you were okay in that dungeon of a studio.
My closet. But here's the thing. When I get sick, I basically send out the bat signal to everybody. I'm like, I'm sick.
Yeah.
I've got COVID. I tell 25 people in the company.
No, Maggie was sick. Maggie's sick. It's almost like an NFL player. It's like it's gonna be a game time decision.
I'm doubtful.
Yeah,
we're monitoring closely. Yeah.
Limited in the call.
I mean, today. Bogus, you and I both know that I was only checking to make sure you're here on Thursday.
I know. That's the last thing you said was just make sure you're back for Halloween.
Bogus is now part of my Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
My right shoulder specifically.
Oh my God. It has to be pixelated.
Yeah.
It's so offensive.
Yeah.
But every day Bogus was out, I was like, these short shorts are getting 1 inch shorter. Just to make you pay. I don't know why. I don't know why you would have to pay.
I know. Honestly, just let me know in advance. If you're really going to file something with HR against me, just
let him get a head start to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And
Please tell me.
Keep going to Texas.
I mean, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not
Mexico.
going to lie to you. Like you're going to have an uncomfortable moment on Thursday.
Great.
But just let me know, like, maybe I should bring in an attorney with me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue don't do it, but if you want to bring a lawyer in for the,
I can't help it. At this point, I have to make you uncomfortable on Halloween. It's important to me.
Last year, your short shorts were not just short; they were also white.
They were barely shorts.
It was just cloth.
It's like granny panties.
I've seen bathing suits that were much bigger.
Well, that's still better
See
than
more
the
clothes on cavemen.
It's still better than the Roddy Piper kilt.
Oh my gosh, are you coming as Adam from Adam and Eve? Because that would be the next logical step. Anyway, we're so glad to have you back. We were thinking about you, Bogues. We're glad you're
The
healthy.
Lies. Headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks, use code MNP, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Somehow, this happened again last night in the Bronx.
Swinging a belted ball to right field, hooking toward the corner. Freddie Freeman, simply unstoppable. He points to the bullpen as he rounds the bases for an MLB record 6 consecutive World Series game after a home run.
Steven Nelson on Dodgers radio. Freeman also the first ever to go deep in the first 4 games of a World Series. He did the exact same thing, a 2-run homer into the short porch and right in the top of the first in Game 3, but this time it did not lead to a Dodger win. The Yankees rallying behind that Anthony Volpe grand slam. Then a 5-run 8th to put away an 11-4 season-extending win. Not even measure Aaron Boone could mess that up.
It's one game. We wanted to get it to tomorrow, and we've done that. And excited for the opportunity tomorrow.
Game 5 is now tonight, still in the Bronx with Garrett Cole and Jack Flaherty on the mound. None of the previous 24 World Series where a team took a 3-0 lead have gotten to Game 6.
By the way, do you just walk Freddie Freeman in the first inning of this next game? What's the approach? Like, you cannot throw anything near the plate.
No. In the first inning, absolutely not. Because it would be the dumbest. Like, is Aaron Boone alive? Like, is he alive? Is he homesick?
He should have known this coming into last night's game.
I mean, how much more evidence do you need that this guy's on a tear?
Now
that's
they
like
believe.
the natural.
Just walk him Barry Bonds style. Like, you can't do that.
Well, listen, game situation's going to come into it, but the guy's clearly healthy. He can hit. He's legging out these singles because your defense is not tip-top.
One thing about the series, too, I know Shohei made a nice swing on a ball last night, but Shohei can't run. The guy's
literally holding his shoulder
It's
while
insane.
running.
So maybe the Dodgers' Shohei injury evens this out a little bit. I didn't even think about that because he's not really contributing that much anyway.
And then he had to slide, and it was like...
That's sad. What is going on here?
The swing was nice, though.
Yeah, he did actually end up getting on base, but...
Yeah, no power behind it, but like he looked
but then
okay.
he had a very embarrassing at bat for him where he just looked way off.
I know. Yeah, he looked awful.
It's just
on
the
that.
holding the shoulder while you're running.
That is so weird. That seems like something I would do. Not Shohei Ohtani. Like he's holding a brace in place? Like I don't... They need a better brace.
Yeah, back to the drawing board on that.
The White Sox are as far away from the World Series as possible after a record 121 losses this season. They are reportedly hiring Rangers associate manager Will Venable as their new skipper. Lions wideout Jamison Williams is in trouble again. During an October 8th traffic stop, Williams admitted to police there was a gun under his passenger seat, but he doesn't have a concealed carry permit. So he was placed in handcuffs that night, but eventually released, which probably shouldn't have happened. WXYZ TV in Detroit began asking questions, so an arrest warrant was issued late last week. Detroit PD says the investigation is evolving. 2 more NFL trades yesterday. The Ravens getting wideout Diontae Johnson from the Panthers, and the Vikings get left tackle Cam Robinson from the Jags. He'll replace Christian Darrisaw, who suffered a season-ending knee injury. No Steph Curry or Andrew Wiggins last night, but the Warriors won anyway.
Waters avoids Alvarado, takes it to midcourt. Now shoveled it over to Hield. Catch and shoot 3 right off his fingertips. Another splash for Buddy Hield.
That's Tim Roy on Warriors Radio. Buddy Hield scoring 28 as Golden State outscored New Orleans by 22 after halftime to win 124-106. The Kings got a 113-96 win in Utah. The Jazz are 0-4. The Mavs topped the T-Wolves 120-114 behind 35 from Kyrie. And the Nuggets outlasted the Nets 144-139 in overtime in Brooklyn. Nikola Jokic, 28 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists. The Seattle Kraken got an 8-2 win in Montreal. The Senators thumped the Blues 8-1 in a game that had a 30-minute delay for a power outage in the Ottawa Arena. And Cooper Flagg is the first male college athlete to sign a deal with Gatorade. The Duke star joining Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins with the company. Financial terms not reported yet. Perloff, back to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah. I deserve it. I earned that one. But again, Perloff did talk me out of texting you to say if you were
I don't know what,
because he said I took care of it.
I don't know what she's talking about. I actually suggested, I said, it'd be nice. He would really appreciate a note from you, Maggie. And she's like, nah, screw that guy. That's how I recall the conversation.
Yeah, right. I was like, well, what are you going to do?
Now she's going to send you cookies tomorrow. She's going to go over the top.
If Pam gets me cookies, then we're back.
Oh, I mean, I can put in the order with my mom.
That's why he likes you more than me. Because when we first started in the morning shift, your mom made, was it cookie? It was something fancy.
Well, Maggie was just generally nicer to me.
Well, that too. That too. But I remember you were so excited about Maggie's mom cooking.
She's good.
Well, there was some kind of Christmas biscotti, which I thought was from
the biscotti.
Store,
You talked about the biscotti for about a month.
It was because it was basically perfect, and I thought really it was from Jose Andre, some fancy baker, and it was from our mom. It was super impressive.
I know she's got the gift.
I got cookies from Maggie's mom. Awesome.
By the way,
EJ was out for months.
How many notes did he get, Maggie?
Actually, surprisingly few.
Well.
But my mom did bring you something.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And that made us look bad.
You know who would appreciate some fancy cookies? The Perloff household. I mean, I've only known you for 15 years.
Guys, what do I look like, a freaking bakery? We're trying to do a show here.
Now you've got me all distracted about that, because I do remember those biscotti. They were kind of like crumble cookies combined with biscottis.
Well, get sick or tear your patella tendon. I'm sure you'll get cookies or something.
Yeah. It's got to be real extreme. You got to tear your knee up in 2 places. Or just it could be the holidays. 855-212-4227. All right, lots more to do, including your thoughts on the fan behavior. Has it gotten worse since back in the day with what happened last night? Mookie Betts, 2 New York Yankee fans interfering with him in a ridiculous way, trying to rip the ball out of his glove like 2 idiots. We also have some major quarterback news to get to, so we'll do that. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Got lots to get to. Asking you today if fan behavior has gotten better or worse since back in the day, whenever you, 70s, 80s, whatever, because of the two fans who interfered with Mookie Betts last night during the World Series. By the way, Yankees may be climbing back into this thing. If they win tonight, I think the pressure goes to the Dodgers. But for now, Yankees still have a lot of winning to do because they found themselves in an 0-3 hole. But there's been a lot of news, Perloff. We'll get to Anthony Richardson in just a little bit, but we didn't get to this yesterday, and it's important. Stefon Diggs is now out for the year. Houston Texans, definitely a contender. One of the great stories from last year. The offense hasn't looked exactly how we thought it would look. The offensive line has been leaky. Nico Collins was on IR, but he is going to come back. But now losing Stefon Diggs, does this make you think of them any differently as a contender?
So I saw this video clip. Dan Orlovsky of ESPN said Diggs hurts a little bit, but does not change the prospect that the Houston Texans will go to the Super Bowl at all. I got to be honest, I was surprised about that. I'm like, wait, what? Because Nico Collins, their number one receiver, is hurt all the time. This immediately downgraded them in my mind.
Really?
I mean, Yeah, I mean, they don't have their offense is not dynamic at all, and Diggs has been kind of productive for them. And he does a lot of like little bubble screens that anybody can catch. But I definitely think like, wow, that does not make me feel better about C.J. Stroud. I don't know why anyone would.
Yeah, I think it's more about their offensive line. I still think Stroud is so good, but their offensive line has been really uncharacteristically, just leaky. They were a good unit last year, which is how a rookie quarterback has the type of success, partly, that he was able to have, and they just have not been holding up as well. The thing about Diggs, to me, it doesn't really change their prospects, but watching him closely as being a Bills fan for, and him being a huge part of their offense and being their number one, he is and has the ability to be that guy on third down. He is such a good safety blanket in that way. And he was not the number one receiver here. And that was very obvious that he's definitely lost a step, but he still has amazing hands. He's a bad ball catcher. And I still think they have enough talent, but man, this offense does not look how I thought it was going to look coming into year two. I just assumed they would build on what they had in year one with Stroud, and this was going to be a juggernaut. And some of these division games especially have been really dicey. I mean, they are asking for a loss, and now they have to play the Jets on Thursday night in a major spot, prime time. And oddly, the Jets are a 2-point favorite in this game.
Well, I think about who their coach is, D'Amico Ryans, and where he coached. He was in San Francisco. They want to be more of a running back focused team, and they're doing it. I mean, they're transitioning from a passing team to like the Christian McCaffrey style, where their Will Anderson is going to come around the edge and destroy you. So they're now built to win a little differently than we thought. Listen. That defense could cause major problems for Aaron Rodgers. I've seen that line attack quarterbacks. Yep. So, and I'm a little worried about the Jets O-line in this one. So I just think that they changed the formula midway, especially when Nico Collins went down. Like you say, the line is bad. It wasn't so bad with like Stroud's so comfortable throwing to that guy. He gets out immediately to him, and then he runs down the field. So I just think it's really a function of Collins. Yeah, they need Diggs. Tank Dell hasn't really been what we expected this year. This is definitely not good because they have nothing but Super Bowl aspirations. I don't care if they make the playoffs. That's not a step up. They have to be contenders. Yeah, I'm not quite sure like how people are just writing this off because there is a lot of that energy out there. It's like, Diggs is older. He's sort of not doing anything special right now. He's not even on pace for 1,000 yards.
I know. It's weird because before the season, remember when we're doing our preseason predictions and you're looking at every team and it's like, well, I want to kind of zag on the Houston Texans. Everyone's on them. Everyone thinks they're going to be this, Super Bowl contender. Can I find a way to fade the public here? And you couldn't find it, right? It was hard to poke holes like in the roster, the resume, the coaching, the quarterback. It was hard to find. And then they got Diggs. And now it just doesn't look the same. It just doesn't. I know there's been injuries, obviously Collins and even Mixon and all that, but it's just not, they're not ferocious like they were. Listen, they destroyed my team. So they ended up only winning. The final score was 23-20. Josh Allen definitely got concussed in that game, but they look good against the Bills. They almost beat the Packers. I mean, they should have, but they're not the juggernaut. I kind of thought they'd give us a little Lions energy, like, oh, we're blazing out of the gate.
I would argue their defense is very much improved. Like their defense, they're a top 5 defense right now, which is, I don't think they were last year. I mean, they weren't that great last year. They snuck in.
But it was a rookie quarterback, so you're grading them on a curve.
Yeah, I guess if you expected the second-year jump of the quarterback, but again, I think they have a defensive head coach, and now they look like a team with a defensive head coach. And this thing about the Jets being favored is still really hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah, Jets are a 2-point favorite at home. They've lost 5 games in a row, including to the Patriots last week in Foxborough. I'm not sure why the Texans wouldn't be favored in this game. It's flip-flopped a little bit, I guess the line has, but it was 1.5 and pushed out to 2. Like more money is coming in on the Jets.
No Diggs and no Nico Collins is big.
Yeah,
you just lost to Jalen Polk.
Oh, believe me. You don't got to convince me. I know.
Expect a lot of Joe Mixon coming at the Jets.
855-212-4227. Asking you, is fan interactions and behaviors worse now than back in the day? We also get to Anthony Richardson allegedly getting benched.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Indianapolis Colts are doing the right thing. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, Anthony Richardson. According to reports, it's not official from the team yet, but it's like the NFL media people who are reporting that Anthony Richardson is going to be benched, Perloff, this weekend. Joe Flacco back in. And listen, to set up Anthony Richardson, this is a guy who barely had any experience in college.
Yeah.
13 starts, fewer than 400 pass attempts. Just to put in perspective, Bryce Young, who also was drafted the same year as Richardson and also has been benched, had 27 starts and nearly 1,000 pass attempts, right? So he really just didn't have a lot of experience in college. Comes to the NFL, totally raw, totally green. They throw him out there to start. He ends up getting hurt, has shoulder surgery since he's been in the NFL, but he's just been bad. He's been raw. He is not being developed, partly because he just hasn't played enough. And then you get the tap-out incident from last week where he said he had to take himself out of the game because he was tired.
Right.
That got panned by current teammates, former players, media, very unpopular, and now he's getting benched. I think it's the right thing to do. He's got to develop, but right now that's got to happen a little bit more behind the scenes than on the field.
Yeah, but what are you going to achieve here? If you put in Joe Flacco, who's pretty good, he's not great. He throws a lot of passes that should be picked off. Say you sneak into the wild card, you're probably not going to win one. So where are you left at the end of this process? If Joe Flacco starts the rest of the season,
I think you're still developing Richardson. You're still trying.
You're not.
Well,
I mean,
I think you have to be. You can't give up on him yet. He's got to listen. Playing is probably the best thing for him, reps. But you have a locker room that you don't think any of those guys were tired. You don't think any of those offensive linemen were tired? They definitely were. You can't have the quarterback taking himself out of a game. I think it's hard. The accountability factor, which is a word we throw around in sports, I think you're seeing it now. So I don't know how long the benching is going to last. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do go back to him at some point in this season. But he's got to learn. He's got no situational awareness. He's got a live arm. That's what he's got. And he's got the ability to run. But he needs way more. He's got to sit and watch and learn and get in better shape and just needs more skill.
Well, he does a couple things that are good. He never gets sacked. So he reminds me so much of Jalen Hurts with Shane Steichen. Before Jalen Hurts became an MVP candidate, he had a middling stats, but he just would not take a sack. Richardson does the same thing. I'm sure the linemen are like, I'd rather have Flacco just throw the ball so I don't have to hold this block.
Yeah.
But Richardson has shown flashes that are intriguing. I think it's so much different than Bryce Young, who you mentioned earlier. Like, there's nothing to see with Bryce Young. Maybe somebody trades for him. He was great in college. Richardson's made some throws that very few quarterbacks can make this year. And also, too, he is very, very mobile. I don't know why Shane Steichen, the Colts coach, calls design runs, but it feels like he's going to get hurt all the time. But he's made at least 5 throws this year that are just total wow throws. So there's something there. The other thing, too, is people forget, before he got hurt in the Steelers game, he had one of his best drive of the year. He came out and just drove him 75 yards for a touchdown, came out the next drive, drove him 50 yards downfield, then got very hurt on a design run, which was stupid. But I just think there's enough flashes that you got to commit to this and go with Anthony Richardson. I understand the locker room thing. Totally buy that. It was ridiculous to take yourself out. But what's the point? I just see no point in Flacco.
Well, it's funny because the team puts themselves in a tough spot because they said, listen, we came to this eyes wide open. We drafted him 4th overall knowing he only had 13 college starts. And we saw the talent. But yet now with the injuries and other things, they just haven't been able to really develop him, right? He just never got the starts. It's like reminding me a little bit of Trey Lance. I mean, Trey Lance had even fewer college starts, but it could never get off the ground. I think this benching, though, is not just because he's not playing well. I think it's a punishment. I think it's more punishment than not playing well, or maybe it's 50-50. And because of that, I think he can earn his way back onto the field. Now, the Colts are 4-4 right now. The AFC, listen, there's going to be a wild card spot here that's going to go to the Broncos, the Chargers, the Bengals, maybe. I don't know if the Dolphins or Jets can turn this thing around, but there might be a 7th wildcard spot, that last one, that's going to be a little bit up for grabs. The Colts could be right there.
I don't think it's I don't think it's about the tapping out. I think it's more about the fact that he has a 44% completion percentage and that the offense isn't moving with him, and he's just the throws he's missing are easy too. I think they were looking for an excuse to get rid of him, and this was perfect. Not get rid of him, like to bench him and play Flacco. Because I think NFL head coaches don't want to look long-term. I'll bet you the GM, Chris Ballard, is like, we got to play Richardson. And Shane Steichen was looking for anything to play Flacco because Flacco gives you a better short-term chance. But it's a classic question of short-term versus long-term. What does better? Because now, say Flacco plays the rest of the season. Say they have the number 15 pick and Cam Ward is there for the Miami Hurricanes quarterback. I think they have to jump on there because you're not going back to Richardson, are you, next year? Is that the plan? That's not a plan.
You can't give up on him now. It's funny. We had a caller, Ramon, in Indianapolis, calls the show quite a bit. He said yesterday they've got to move on. We said, Ramon, you're crazy. Don't be so alarmist. Now you're on Ramon's side. You think that they would move on. I think
if they bench him, he's not coming back.
Oh, I think he is coming back.
Next year?
Yes. You can't give up on a guy after not even 2 full seasons.
Well,
10 starts, and he didn't even finish 3 of those starts because he got hurt.
If Joe Flacco leads them to the playoffs, then why not stick with Flacco?
Well, because Flacco's 40. That's not the long-term solution.
I understand. Well, then why are you going to him now?
I think that's why I think they're punishing him. I think it's a benching because of the tapping out of the game thing more than it is we're giving up on your talent. That's why I think he still has a chance here. Funny enough, Chris Ballard, the general manager, he is the second longest tenured GM to be with one team with 0 Super Bowl appearances. Chris Greer of the Miami Dolphins is the other one. And he's also got a quarterback situation on his hands because Tua, and they gave him the big contract, but who knows if he'll stay healthy. No, I think this is a punishment thing for Richardson. I don't think they've given up on him. And even if Cam Ward is there at 15, I think they'd trade out of the pick. Oof. I think they would. What are you going to do with Cam Ward and Anthony Richardson both on your roster? And what are you going to trade Richardson for? If you give up on him, you're getting nothing.
Like Trey Lance. I think you nailed it with Trey Lance. I think that's a perfect comparison.
Well, why can't it be Kirk Cousins and RG3, where you have 2 young guys and basically, Richardson's already shown he's brittle. So you say, all right, we got Cam here. And if
Who do you start?
I think you start whoever wins the competition.
Oh, a true quarterback battle?
Yeah. Say, hey, we need a quarterback. We got 2 young options. Let's see who's the best. And the guy who doesn't win, we get him out of here.
I think it's more like San Francisco, who got rid of Trey Lance because they didn't want that situation.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough one. I feel like that's hard on the team.
Yeah.
Back in the day when it was Montana and Steve Young, like the ultimate, I think, at least you had one of the greatest of all time. I think that it's hard when it's 2 young guys.
Well, I don't think they're going to keep Bryce Young around in Carolina to watch another draft pick because Carolina, I would think, is definitely drafting a quarterback.
Yeah, but you're right. See, Bryce Young to me is different. Bryce Young is small. He's slight. He doesn't have the physical tools of Anthony Richardson. Ironically, Richardson's been way more hurt than Bryce Young. So I guess take that for what it is.
But you think about quarterbacks that are drafted high and don't work out. Like, they don't let them hang around. Like Zach Wilson, they had to get rid of, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably kept him around for 1 extra year. You think of Josh Rosen when the Cardinals mess up and they went straight to Kyler Murray. I think they shipped him out of town pretty quickly. I don't think you have 2 top 10 picks sitting there on the same depth chart.
Listen, Justin Fields. The Chicago Bears just went through this. They had to get him out. They couldn't have Caleb Williams and Justin Fields there together.
Yeah, I think, honestly, now you got the Trey Lance comparison seems perfect. But I think Richardson, for some reason, and I don't know, this is maybe positive thinking, has a little more upside than Trey Lance because there's something about he makes these throws, like just you eyeball him, like, oh my God, that is an incredibly talented human being.
Oh, that's going 60 yards.
With a perfect spiral, and his form looks good. It's just the short and intermediate game is not good.
I have a question, though. Listen, we never really had to dive into this because the 49ers saved their own bacon with Brock Purdy, right? One of the all-time kick saves and a beauty with Mr. Irrelevant now being your guy. But we never actually asked, was any of this, Trey Lance was getting hurt all the time, a lot like this, but was Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff at all at fault, for not being able to develop him? If Anthony Richardson stays healthy and they're working with him behind the scenes and he's not getting any better and he's not developing, does Shane Steichen, doesn't the head coach have to wear this at all? It's not just the player, right?
No, because everyone knew the risk that you laid out perfectly with Anthony Richardson. It's not like he was a sure thing in anyone's mind. Everyone knew about the lack of experience. They drafted him as a project at number 4 overall. So I think everyone knows the deal here. Like, no one's blaming Steichen. It was a risk, and if it doesn't work out, then that's on Richardson. That being said, I think other teams, like I can't imagine anyone really wants Bryce Young. I'll bet you a lot of people want Anthony Richardson. GMs are fascinated with height and arm strength and mobility. What I don't like is when he runs, he feels like an injury waiting to happen. That's my even bigger concern with Anthony Richardson. Forget the fact that he can't throw an 8-yard pass. The problem is like he is a big target. He always gets these big hits.
By the way, just quickly, I don't think Cam Ward is available at 15 because of the Anthony Richardson thing, right? Once you're in the first round, and if you're good, the draft process is just designed to make quarterbacks look much better than they are. And so you get pushed up and pushed up. Yeah. This is how Daniel Jones goes 6. Because if you're going to take him 19, you might as well take him 6, and you don't want someone to swoop in and poach you on him. And I think Cam Ward's going top 5.
Quarterbacks are so much more valuable. They're worth the high pick. Like Daniel Jeremiah, the draft expert, had a good point. Why are you drafting a tight end at 13? Then you're going to have to pay him $9 million when you can get a $4 million veteran. Quarterbacks get $60 million. Yeah. Financially, drafting them high makes perfect sense because you can get almost any other position later on. You can't get quarterback.
Unless you're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, this is a very, by the way, super, super polarizing quarterback draft class.
I know.
Because nobody, it's not like last year, at least you knew about Caleb Williams. Like, there's no sure thing.
Poll question, EJ, we already got one up there. Is fan behavior worse now than back in the day off of the 2 idiots who were interfering with Mookie Betts last night? Season ticket holder, they're going to get let back in the building tonight, even though they ripped the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove, and another guy was holding his wrist. Like, what planet do you guys think you're on? Anyway, that's our one poll question out there. Can we put another one up at Maggie and Pearl? Are the Colts making the right decision by benching Richardson? Perloff says, no, you got to let him. You did this. You knew. You got to let him play. I think this is the right move, and I think it's a punishment, quite frankly. I think it's more than just him being not good. EJ, you look like you want to say something before.
I think we're letting Shane Steichen off the hook here because Shane Steichen is an offensive guy, and he's co-signed drafting this very raw kid who clearly needed more time to develop. Starting him week 1 last year was ridiculous.
Well, do you think that was Jim Irsay's idea or someone like the owner's a wild card over there too?
He took the job to go there. So that totally is possible, but I got to just judge what's happening. So he decides to take Anthony Richardson. He decides to start him over Gardner Minshew. That was a mistake. We saw they were a better team than Minshew. He then, this offseason, as we see Anthony Richardson continue to get hurt, say, why would I stop him from running? It's like stopping Steph Curry from shooting threes. Well, Steph Curry doesn't get hurt shooting threes. Anthony Richardson gets hurt running.
Yeah.
His development as a passer gets slowed down because he's running too much. So it's Shane Steichen in many ways has co-signed all of the mistakes that have happened with the development of Anthony Richardson. In fact, he's encouraged them. So I think he definitely deserves blame for what's happened.
Yeah, but it worked with Jalen Hurts. Same exact
I'm talking about here, though.
But Steichen, that's why Steichen's there, and that's why because they took a guy who did not have good passing numbers in college and said, we think there's something there. He's super mobile now, and we're going to develop it. And the offense looks exactly like the early Hurts offense.
But then why are you pulling the shoot? Then he's done for pulling the shoot now.
I'm not sure. I think maybe Maggie nailed it. Maybe it's the tapping out. Also, too, his numbers are so bad. It's completely egregious. We all know when Flacco comes to the game, we all go to our phones and change our bet.
It's so true.
Yeah, right now, Flacco gives him a better chance to win. That's why.
I thought I had figured out the hack of all betting hacks this year, which was every Colts under. And then Flacco came in.
Yeah.
Sheesh. That blew that bet. Anyway, 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. Actually, let's get to Kevin in San Antonio. I've been asking you about bad fan behavior. Kevin, you used to work at the Spurs Arena?
Yes, I used to work at the AT&T Center. They changed the name Frost Bake Center.
What's the worst thing you saw from fans?
And the thing about it is just I was getting into my position because I was a fan experience representative. I worked at the elevator and everything else.
Okay.
And then I saw some blood on the floor. And I'm like, what happened? And then they told us to move and stuff. I said, people be fighting, bringing their problems to the arena and so forth. That's what everywhere, like what happened in New York. People just they drank and they lose their mind.
Yeah, and Kevin, I'm sorry you had that experience, but I'm not shocked by it. I think it's two places where Kevin brings up the alcohol, and I have no idea if these two guys were drinking last night. I have a guess, but we have no idea, and I don't want to, slander anyone. But stadiums and airports, people are just getting schnockered in airports, and it's one of those, they have something in common, which is obviously this game is at night, Perloff, but you're in an airport and you see somebody drinking a beer at 7:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And there's something very permissive about it. It's like, I don't know what time zone that person's on. Maybe they're traveling internationally. Maybe this is afternoon in their body clock or nighttime. So there's just sort of everyone looks the other way. And I think for stadiums, there's never a thought, oh, you should cut yourself off or whatever. It's like, just drink. And obviously that has a big impact.
I hear you, but you can't sit here and tell me people drink more now than they used to. Because they definitely don't. Because first of all, because marijuana is so much more popular. That's one.
They've replaced.
They definitely
They added together.
You have no idea. This country definitely consumes less alcohol than it used to.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Back in the day, like my grandparents, like that generation, they drank whiskey like water. I definitely think drinking is down. I heard Ryan Botcher, you're in your 20s, like that. They don't party like they used to. First of all, they have all these dating apps. They don't need to go get hammered and go to the bar. I've heard and read drinking is not as popular as it used to be. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
I will disagree.
Okay, Ryan, how old are you?
23.
All right, give us an update.
Yeah, like
young kids today.
Are people smoking pot more, or
it's a combination of both?
Yeah. I don't think drinking ever goes out for young people.
No, beer is out though.
Too caloric.
Too caloric, filling, it doesn't really mix well with other stuff. So people go with like seltzers and other stuff. So that goes down easier.
Yep. It's like hard seltzers and things like that. They're sweeter. Yeah.
I mean, I was just at the Knicks game on, what was it, Friday night? I mean, yeah, people are hammered.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with a bunch of drunk Yankee fans who are watching the game on their phones as the Knicks game is happening. And
EJ, you don't drink at all, so you're stone cold sober to watch all that bad stuff.
And maybe that's kind of why I feel like it's definitely worse, because I feel like I'm not someone who's a drinker.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been in stadiums and stuff when I was a teenager, and now I've been in stadiums now in recent years. It feels like there's been a turn since the pandemic. I'm gonna keep saying that. Like, it just feels like people's social skills are not the same. And that's why it's leading to more people yelling stuff they shouldn't be saying, yelling stuff at other fans they shouldn't be saying, and then getting physical with fans. I think that's why this stuff's happening more. I think that's why these two idiots who are sitting there thinking, oh, I can go and just grab the guy's wrists, fair game. I think these people just don't have any clue about how the real world works anymore. I really do.
I mean, these are not young people. I mean, youngish, I guess.
Yeah, they're like in their 40s, maybe early 40s. Yeah, like they look like millennials. People don't know how to act.
I know. Although, Perloff, you think it's the same as it was worse back in the day?
Oh, it definitely was. I think this is recency bias, and I think it's the phones. And obviously, like, there's a long history. Regardless, there's been some really ugly fan fights over the years.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, they were
and people
pre-pandemic.
Say totally inappropriate stuff to athletes, I think, is a tale as old as time.
And the one thing I will say I've seen more, and maybe you guys can speak to this, because I can't speak to general fighting. I feel like there definitely are more women fighting in the stands than I've ever seen in the last 3-4 years. I never remember that being a thing.
Yeah.
But the clips of women just ripping off people's jerseys, like just pounding each other. I mean, there are a lot of clips of that. I can't imagine that was happening as much. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I don't know if women were going to games as much even back in the day. Women have become a bigger part of just the fan base in general. But also, I think those fights on social media, a lot of fights go viral because, we're kind of sick as people, and it taps into like some of our basest, indulgences or whatever. But I think women fights go really viral.
Yeah, I know.
So,
did you guys see the clip, by the way? Was it LaMelo Ball? Oh, no, it was Tyler Hero, who's done a post-game interview. And he stops the interview, says, wait, I got to stop. You guys see that fight in the stands? He literally did that last week. I couldn't believe it. Maybe we'll get the sound in the return here. But, like, it was...
Was it the two sculptors who made the Dwayne Wade statue finally going at each other?
It was Pat Boyle versus the sculptor.
Yeah,
he finally got his hands on him.
Pat was with us yesterday. He was so incensed by the Dwayne Wade statue that looks nothing like Dwayne Wade. And Perloff was defending the artists.
How?
Well,
just how?
It's art. They
bad
basically,
art.
we got an argument. Pat's like, that's a bad sculptor. I'm like, he's clearly a talented sculptor. It's not, you don't define, Maggie said the Shaq statue was like being lifelike as a sculptor. There's obviously more to it, right? Like you want to interpret it.
Him like basically doing a two-handed jam, and it looks like it's happening.
Right, but nobody's
so
going to
real.
say, wow, this is a great work of art. Let's put the Shaq statue in the
Yeah, well, it's basically
Louvre.
got a shakaroni and cheese right
Yeah.
next to it. It's Shaq. There's like
Great
there's
art is
always
not
a little
defined-
silliness with Shaq.
Yeah, it's not defined what's closer to the actual photograph is not what great art. We had this big argument about realism. Maggie went back to the 1400s. She's like, well, what about this guy and this ceiling in Florence? I'm like, yeah, but...
Yes, Michelangelo I brought up. You've heard
yeah,
of him.
she'd be like, oh, man, this Van Gogh self-portrait, I mean, he's clearly, it's fuzzy. What's going on here? The guy can't paint.
Yeah, but like if you're making a real life athlete into a sculpture and it doesn't look anything like it, everyone's eyes can see that's a bad piece of art.
Or just missed the mark a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Oh my gosh, Charles Barkley last night on TV said they got to take it down and do another one. I don't think that's going to happen.
He's right.
I know we got a break, but athletes' sculptures are not works of art. Like, there's nothing like... No one said, oh my God, this Jerry West statue is a work of art.
Wait,
That's not
Nick Foles with Doug Peterson,
Yeah, the Bud Light one.
calling Philly.
These are not
presented
works
by
of-
Bud Light. That's
Yeah.
not a work of art. How dare you?
I just don't think that. I mean, that actually being a very popular exhibit. Just I don't think these are meant to be works of art.
But the Rocky statue is literally outside the Philadelphia Museum of Art.
That's because Rocky ran up the steps of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, not because it's a great work of art. That's because that's where the dude was running.
855-212-4227.
Oh my God, you just broke my brain with that.
Okay, fan behavior. Better now these days, worse these days. Some more about the phones. Lots more to do here. You're also welcome to weigh in on Anthony Richardson. Is it a mistake to bench him now? We've got so much to do. We've got college football for you. We've got more NFL. It's Maggie and Perloff. Stick around.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
He's got the road trip.
1 minute remaining.
And your vocals high on display.
45 seconds remaining.
The wristband. He's on the chat, tuning in. Where it's at. Infinity Sports Radio, playing all morning. Dancing to the beat. Moist pork so delicious. Fashion icon, always ambitious. Rocking the threads, fresh and clean. Styling on the scene, living the dream. Loves Twitch, not YouTube. Always dancing, never in the mood. Live streaming with 1 million views. Sipping on success and paying his dues. Loves Baltimore, city of his heart. Representing, playing his part. But hates back callers, ain't no doubt. Gotta stay fly, that's what it's about.
And at the same time, and just continuing to figure out what we can do to get ready for the season. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by a fight up there. This is crazy.
Well, hopefully that breaks up here soon.
You're listening to Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
No, that's neat. So that was a post-game interview? Well, who fights after the game?
That was Tyler Hero at a Heat game?
Yeah, it was Tyler Hero at a Heat game as he's doing his post-game interview after a Heat win in the preseason. And there's another clip of people showing the interview and then showing the fight. And there are two people just brawling like it's Rocky, the end of Rocky 5. Like, I mean, people just brawling in the stands. And he says, this is crazy. I'm distracted right now. This fight's happening.
So, EJ, you're claiming that NBA games are worse now than ever. Or worse now than in your experience.
I think it's gotten worse post 2020.
That could be. I mean, I'll be honest. I go to a lot of NBA games now, but usually I'm in the front row with Ben Stiller.
Yeah,
I learned that.
Perloff, Timothée Chalamet.
It's actually true.
EJ.
But watching on TV, the NBA crowd looks way fancier than when I was a kid. I feel like these are like half fashion shows. Maybe I'm just seeing the lower bowl. I'm like, that doesn't seem anything like you're talking about a Knicks game. Can you imagine what a Knicks game was like when Bernard King was playing and the team stunk?
Well, it was empty. My dad was
you could get tickets. Like I don't know.
Used to be able to smoke in the Garden.
Yeah, I just feel like stadiums used to be much wilder places, and they seem like fancier places to me now. Maybe I'm ignorant. And honestly, football games like in Philly, like it was like the Vet was madness. It was utter. It was like one of those movies, Mad Max. It was basically like that. There's nothing like Veterans Stadium. The amount of alcohol, the amount of fights, the amount of police roaming through the stands trying to corral people. There was nothing like that. And the lake is bad. It's nothing like the Vet.
Let's go to Shane. He's in Maryland. We're talking about fan behavior because of the incident with Mookie Betts last night where two Yankee fans totally embarrassed themselves. One tried to rip a foul ball that Mookie Betts caught out of his glove while his friend is holding on to Betts' other wrist. Shane, what do you have, sir?
I just wanted to talk about my experience this past year with my family. We went to a Camden Yards to watch a baseball game. And in the stands, it was easier for us to get an alcoholic drink than it was to get a non-alcoholic drink. We kept asking, the guys, the vendors are coming through just promoting nothing but alcohol. and it was a little bit frustrating for those that had little kids. So I guess my point is that the clubs are enabling this behavior.
Right, just pushing the beer sales on everybody. Shane, yeah, thank you for that.
That's funny. I've been to Camden Yards a few times. That strikes me as a kind of a very nice atmosphere. Like I've never, beautiful there. Yeah, I haven't been in a while, but that doesn't strike me as like kind of a rowdy, mean-spirited place. I hope that he had a good experience. That kind of stinks.
Well, you can text now. There's like a text line if people are behaving badly, so you don't even have to confront the person, which you definitely should not do because it'll make it worse. And security will come. But you know where they're laughing at us about this. And I think the fan behavior it can be very bad and upsetting. Did you guys ever watch a game in Europe? They're like lighting fires in the stadium.
I went to a soccer game in Argentina on my honeymoon. There was 3 minutes left in the game. All of a sudden, troops came in, about 60 armed guards with AK-47s, one on one side of the pitch and one on the other side of the pitch, because apparently the two teams fan bases would have an all-out brawl. Like, and the hooliganism, have you ever read about the hooliganism in the 80s? Which is way better now, but it's like soccer, that is a different level of violence. That's like death violence.
They've had to go to such extreme measures with the hooliganism where the away fans can't even travel to the stadium. They don't even allow them in. Who wrote that amazing piece about fan? There was a book that was written about it.
Wasn't it? There's also a movie, Green Street. Help me out here.
I don't know.
Green Street. Well, there's a movie where Daniel Radcliffe plays a hooligan, but there's a couple movies about hooligan fans.
Harry Potter as a hooligan?
I think so, yeah. You guys ever seen this one?
Wizards.
Green Street.
They could have used some wizardry. It's really just a bunch of drunk people breaking bottles.
I hope I have the right guy. I always get Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe confused. Anyone with me on that one?
That's fair.
Green Street Hooligans. You guys never seen
Never
this
heard
one?
of it.
No.
All right.
Andrew Bogusch is here with us. Feeling better?
Yeah. Now that you've checked. Headlines are sponsored by Progressive
3 days later.
Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. Had sweet Maggie checked in on me over the last 2 days, I would have told her I was home because I sounded like this.
Hudson deals. Swung on and hit in the air to left field and deep. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either. John Sterling, Yankee radio colds or colds. Anthony Volpe's grand slam put the Yankees in front for good in Game 4 of the World Series. It negated Freddie Freeman's 2-run homer in the first, his record 6th consecutive World Series game going deep. The Yankees pulling away for an 11-4 win, forcing Game 5 tonight in the Bronx. They are just the 4th team out of 25 to force a Game 5 after falling behind 3-0 in the Fall Classic. Mookie Betts, not surprised.
They didn't make it this far on accident, so, they're a really good ball club, and they showed it tonight.
Maggie, you're really appalled by my John Sterling joke?
No, I just cringe a little because I know how important this is for John. He came out of retirement just to call these games. And now we're here at Game 4 of the World Series, and John, whose voice is an all-time voice, is escaping him.
Yeah, and the poor guy, they have a camera on him, so you can watch him be John Sterling, but you can also see him like wrapped in scarves and jackets and like hot water bottles like laying across him, just trying to keep him warm and healthy.
And it's not even cold out. We're having an unseasonably warm fall. But yeah, it reminds me a little before the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, Michael Buffer, who I will not say the line, don't worry, but he clearly had a cold. And I'm like, we've been waiting for this fight for 5 years, and now Michael Buffer isn't 100%.
I would still, as a fan, want to hear Sterling, even if he loses his voice. It's super fun.
Yeah.
I've listened to it a little bit in the car, and I would say, but for the most part, he still has his fastball. I listened to, picked up random innings here and there.
Oh, yeah.
He's still pretty good. He still sounds like John Sterling. I know it's hard to get up for that big moment.
For all the crap and the fun we have with him, he is a physical marvel to do all 9 innings at his age, sounding like that day after day after day. That's not supposed to be physically possible.
He's 85.
Yeah.
Can I say totally random left turn? Mookie Betts is like the best fielder I've ever seen. For the ball he got off the fence yesterday, I don't think anybody can make it. He is super weirdly good in the out, and he's not even an outfielder.
Oh, he can play any position.
I'm a huge Mookie Betts fan.
He also almost won the
Shocker.
exchange with fans. He held on to that ball for a long time. His arm is being dragged into the stadium by two adults, and he almost kept the ball.
Are they adults?
Technically, they're adults, yeah.
Acting like children.
Can we say that Mookie Betts is bigger than any particular fan base? Even if you don't like the Dodgers, I think you can like Mookie Betts.
You want these rules to exist.
I think Mookie Betts is an exception. I don't know anyone, even in the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry, I think Yankees fans secretly like Mookie Betts.
They
That
do
is true.
not.
That is true.
You think so?
I think so.
He's
You
just
can
like
respect the guy, but I don't think you're
the
like
guy's batting 1,000 on it, being positive and cool.
I don't know. At Game 5 of the NLCS, Mookie Wilson was there for the Mets, and I was yelling, "Our Mookie's better." And Mookie Betts. So,
Speaking of children,
that's just pure love of Mookie Wilson. Nothing is bigger than how much you adore Mookie Wilson.
We're talking about fan behavior. Bogus is the real issue. Yelling at Mookie
listen,
Betts.
in section 512, neither Mookie heard me yelling that. So, but it played well in the section.
You know,
and
by
the way, do you guys yell stuff knowing that no one can hear you? Because I was definitely yelling stuff about the Pacers I was in decent seats, but I was not that close.
I'm not a yeller at a stadium.
I have booed before, and I've gotten looks about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, go to an Eagles game. You'll get looks if you don't boo.
No, but I was rooting on the opposing team.
Oh, what are you, crazy? Where was this? At the Jets
MetLife
game?
Stadium. I've done it both watching the Bills play the Jets and the Giants.
I guess the Giants you can definitely get away with.
No, it was
all.
the Giants fans who give you the stink eye. It's a very champagne crowd over there.
Aren't they drinking wine? Yeah, the
Yeah.
Jets fans, I would be a little scared. They're kind of wild.
Yeah, they are.
The scariest moment I've had at a stadium was when we went to the Link and we were sitting all the way up in the high seats for the Eagles home opener, and there's only one Vikings fan in our section. We're neutral. We don't really care who wins. We're just football fans. And the amount of things being said to this one gentleman, at a certain point, we're like the end of the aisle, and he wants to get into the aisle, and all these Eagles fans yelling, "Don't let him in the aisle! Don't let him sit down!"
Yeah.
I was like, this is too much. I want to go home.
I am surprised you weren't given a hard time being neutral. That's not good either.
My brother just threw on the Eagles fan. He's not even an Eagles fan. He's like, "I'm buying this jersey. I don't want any smoke."
Was that the playoff game?
This was the home opener on Monday night. 2 years ago.
A night game? Are you out of your mind? Do you know how much alcohol
apparently my
was
parents
taken in?
are. They're the ones who bought the tickets.
Well, this is what we were talking about Lane Kiffin yesterday, the head coach of Ole Miss, saying that night games give you so much more of an advantage than day games.
Right.
And I think he's talking about how boozed up the crowd is.
Yeah, and I think
there's really no difference between how your team plays between 3:30 and 7:30.
I think the officials are human, and they are impacted by a crazy, somewhat violent crowd. Honestly, like if I think there's a lot of data that says officials are human, and they do tend to give a home field bias, and it's got to be worse at night.
Bogues, what else you got?
The Sixers officially in trouble for Joel Embiid's season-opening absence, but not because the NBA's player participation rules. They apparently did not break those, but the league says the Sixers misled the public with what they were saying about Embiid's injury, so they get docked $100,000.
All very clear. I mean, okay, well, that solves that issue. Now we all know what happened.
Yeah, these guys blow their nose with $100,000. I'm sure it's going to really impact how they behave.
I'm just saying, no Sixers fan, no NBA fan, nobody on earth knows what the heck is going on with Joel. We saw him in the Olympics, and now his knee was too early. Okay. I just think it's a mystery.
What if he had done the Anthony Richardson? He's just like, I was tired.
Because it was opening night.
Well,
you load manage the opening night. It's incredible. Or it seems like you did.
Well, wasn't that the point from yesterday that he actually has an injury? No, it wasn't knee management.
The injury was from January.
no,
Right.
he's going to walk in next with like one of those collars on with people who get into a car accident and
Yes.
show up in court. Just Joel Embiid, an arm in a sling.
I mean, I follow the reaction. And nobody trusts the NBA. Everyone thinks this is just, once again, load management. There's no rule they can put in place that's ever going to change any of this, right? There's no. 100, like Maggie said, $100,000. What do they care?
They don't.
Embiid and Paul George missing their fourth game tonight against the Pistons. On the court last night, a Western Conference Final rematch in Minnesota.
4 to shoot, 3 to shoot, from 35, he hits! Oh, Doncic throwing it right at Minnesota, and a timeout by Chris Finch with 1:04 remaining.
Chuck Cooperstein on Mavs Radio. Luka Doncic scored 24, 35 from Kyrie as Dallas downed Minnesota this time 120-114. The Warriors beat the Pelicans 124-106 despite 31 from Zion. And the Nuggets topped the Nets 144-139 in OT in Brooklyn. Nikola Jokic, 28 points, 18 rebounds, 16 assists. Oscar Robertson, the only other player to have that many of each in the same game. And good news for Giants fans, Daniel Jones remains their starting quarterback. Brian Daboll said that yesterday. There were the 2 turnovers sealing Sunday night's loss in Pittsburgh. There is also a looming injury guarantee, which would complicate the Giants' possible desire to divorce Jones after this season. Guys, back to you.
Wow, dripping with sarcasm there.
Oh, you got that? I'm good.
We're picking up what you're putting down there, Giants fan. 855-212-4227. Coming up, check in on our favorite college football coach. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Rocking the threads, fresh and clean, styling on Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog of golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People out his voice in his ears every day. Tom Brady's glory, it's all too much. Andrew Bogusch needs a break. Bogusch has had enough of Pete. Freedom from Bilotti. That's what Bogusch needs. People he won't leave alone. His voice keeps ringing in his headphones like a drone. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. People can't you see? Bogusch trying to be free in the sea of noise. Let Bogusch find his peace. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. People. Wakes up at dawn, coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff. Andrew Bogusch had a plan on a sunny afternoon. Grabbed a bat and took the field under the summer moon. He said, Jack, let's show 'em how the Bogusch boys can play. But little did they know he had whiskey in his sway.
Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat.
Jack's team was laughing as Dad took his stance, wobbling at the plate in a tipsy baseball dance. The coach was shaking his head, moms were all aghast, but Andrew Bogusch grinned, living in the past.
Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogusch swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. He hit a grounder to the shortstop, tried to make it to first, but he tripped over his own feet. Oh man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Ooh. Oh. man, it was the worst. Jack was on the mound, his face turning red. Come on, Dad, get up, this game's far from dead. Oh, Andrew Bogus swaying side to side with a bottle in his hand. He gave it a good try, swinging at the pitches, stumbling on his feet, drunk on the diamond in the summer heat. So if you see a little league and laughter fills the air, look for Andrew Bogus, you might find him there. With a grin and a wink, he'll raise a drink on high, playing ball with Jack's team under the summer sky.
Won the game, Alec Willis led the way, throwing downs and running fast, made defenders pay. But we all know the real story ain't the win or play, it's Bellotti Steak Black Day. He'll dodge another day with the meat. We're all starving here, promised us summer ribeyes, but you always disappear. Steaks on the line, but you're off the grid. Bellotti's MIA, man, he always hit it. Some ribeyes, but you always disappear. Steaks on the line, but you're off the grid. Lowry's MIA, man, he always hit. Showing up to work, no, that's not his style. He's out on a vacation, gonna take a while. He bet us steaks, but we'll never get our share, cause Bellotti's at home in his favorite chair. Where's the meat? We're all starving here. Promised us summer ribeyes, but you always disappear.
Shedeur is not getting more love for the Heisman.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And they don't even mention him for the Heisman? He's not even mentioned? Oh, my bad. He's my son. That's why.
Okay, so Shedeur, 25 for 30, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks in his last game against Cincinnati, and that's what they were talking about. Just what an efficient game he had. He had an 83% completion percentage in that game, and it's actually the third time he's hit 80% this year, I believe. So he's having this great season, Pearl.
Dude's unconscious.
Should he be more? Do you think he's being left out of the Heisman conversation because Deion and him being so polarizing is affecting Shedeur?
Yes.
I don't. Okay, why?
Well, because I think a lot of people don't like Deion Sanders. There's a million Heisman voters, and I think at the end of the day, there's two things. Travis Hunter's stealing votes, but I do think Shedeur probably should be getting more love for this because he's playing so well. And I just think that a lot of people were upset that Deion and Colorado was overhyped last year, including me. I thought, I was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, Gus Johnson is openly rooting for them in a game. It was overkill last year. And because it was like the new toy that everybody had was rooting for Colorado. So I still think there's animosity towards Deion. And yeah, I think Shedeur, like, it's going to be hard for him to get the recognition he deserves until the NFL draft. Then he'll be fine because he's going high.
I think so also, that he's going high in the draft. But I ask you, since when does being famous hurt you for the Heisman? That's not how this works. Usually it's, you've got to be a known commodity. People have to be familiar with who you are. They have to understand you got to move the needle. Hello? Shedeur does that. And it's his play, and it's also Deion. Like, why would anyone hold it against the son for the dad? And by the way, it's not like Deion's out here stumping for Shedeur. It's not like he isn't talking about this all the time. If anything, he talks about Travis Hunter, I think even a little bit more in terms of the Heisman. He'll say Travis Hunter is the best player in college football. He kind of puts, to use a wrestling term, puts over Travis. But now when Shedeur has all these really gaudy stats games and these big games, I don't see him as openly campaigning for Shedeur. So I don't know why voters would hold it against him.
But you don't
hold
think
against the player.
Well, do you think would you agree with me that there are some people who don't like Deion Sanders?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I get
so,
that.
Yeah,
I do. Hold it against his kid?
I think it trickles down to his kid. But also, Shedeur is super cocky, too, in a really fun way.
Yeah, I mean, if we took away Heisman from all the people who are cocky, we'd never give the award out.
No. There's different. Like, Shedeur has his dad's confidence. That is very clear. And I think that's one of the reasons he's awesome at quarterback. Like, it's not like Shedeur is separate. I think he's part of the whole thing. And I actually think Travis Hunter is part of the whole thing, too. I think Shedeur is definitely rides the coattails of Deion in the sense, like, he wants to be like Deion. And I think that brash, first of all, I think it's a big part of being a confident player. I think he plays and he doesn't feel like he has any fear. And I think that's because he's like Deion. Deion had no fear. Deion walked down the field, knew he was the best player. I see that in Shedeur, too.
I mean, Johnny Manziel won the Heisman and came out and did the money sign. And that was before NIL. So we knew the money was coming from somewhere it shouldn't have coming from, according to the rules. And as antiquated as those rules may have been.
Yeah, but name another, like, look at, generally, though, it's not like the brashest guy gets a Heisman. Devontae Smith won the Heisman.
And Robert Griffin had his last game and said, I think Baylor just won his first Heisman. I mean, we do like flashy guys. I mean, Desmond Howard hit the Heisman pose.
Now you got to hit the Heisman pose, or else what's your Heisman moment if you haven't hit the pose?
Yeah, but I mean, Jaden Daniels wasn't flashy last year. He just like quietly went about his business, dominating every game.
No, it's not everybody, but again, it's like, what's the difference between the Manziel money sign and Shedeur holding up the watch? Like, to me, that's kind of same, and nobody held it against Johnny Manziel. He became a cult hero for it, Johnny Football.
I don't know. I'm looking at this list of Heisman winners, and I would put a lot of them more on the humble side than
the Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, Lamar. I mean, Lamar Jackson was as humble an interview as there ever was. Kyler Murray didn't say a darn word to anybody about anything.
Well, Baker, not humble.
Baker with the flag. That's a good one. You're right. Joe Burrow is kind of a combo. He had the cigars, but I don't think Joe Burrow was super flashy at
Cam
LSU.
Newton. I mean, we like swag with the Heisman Trophy. I totally disagree.
I'll give you, for every Cam Newton, there's a Marcus Mariota. There was no swag there. There was just Chip Kelly offense coming at you fast.
But I think the point, though, is that swag hasn't hurt people from winning the Heisman. We have plenty of swag on this list I'm looking at.
Yeah, but I mean, Derrick Henry won a real close one. I don't know, like, if it helps. Like, there's been swaggy players who haven't won it.
I just think it's interesting because the Heisman is all about great play, but visibility. Like, you're one of the faces of college football, and having a famous father, even a polarizing famous father, I feel like would generally help your campaign, not hurt your campaign. But I see that is not happening. And I do think the Travis Hunter effect is real. You know, there are a lot of people like me who pick Travis Hunter to win the Heisman just because he's so different and so unique. Shedeur is a great quarterback, but we've seen a lot of those.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be, we were on a run where it was just the best quarterback forever. Then Devontae Smith became the first receiver. Was he the first receiver ever, or first receiver in a long time?
In a long time, but wouldn't have been ever, I think.
So now it's a weird year because I think you might get a running back for the first time in a while. Derrick Henry was the last running back in 15. And I think Ashton Genty has a great chance.
And the one thing, there's a couple things working for Genty. First of all, how awesome he is. But secondly, he's playing a schedule. Obviously, they're not in a Power 5, Power 4 conference, pardon me. But they get all these standalone games on Friday nights and stuff, which I think that helps. I think Friday night's not known to be a big TV night, but you get these standalone, it's you and two other games or what have you. And I bet the audiences are tuning in more than just, say, every game's at noon on Saturday. Or what?
Yeah. Also, the other thing too about Colorado, this is a bit of a TBD. I really want to see how they finish up this Big 12 schedule.
They're already bowl eligible, though. I think the successful season, you can mark this a success.
Right, but what's the win that they've had that has really blown you away?
They've won some really close ones. So excitement factor, the Baylor overtime game.
We'll see. I just think that, again, last year they were 3-0. And how did it end up? So their last games are at Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. If they win 3 out of those 4, then I think Shedeur gets back to the Heisman.
855-212-4227. You think Shedeur is not being considered a Heisman candidate because of Deion? That's what Deion thinks. Coming up, it's Wednesday, which means the great debate. This one ripped from the headlines. Get to it next.
At the wheel, Nico's talking mess. Dressed like he's ready for fantasy camp. Let's Perloff lunch his tacos. Nico's talking stats. But man, this life's slower than a game of cats. There ain't refuse? No, I just can't stand the sound. Perloff's talking.
Boogers came home, kids are throwing a fit, dropping F-bombs, talking real slick. He's scratching his head where they learn all this. Must be the TV, but something's amiss. He's calling the sitter, what's going on? My kids are cussing like they're in a rap song. But wait, here's the twist, here's the real deal. The story ain't about what you think or feel. It's not the kids, it's Peter Bellotti. Still missing work, got excuses that are spotty. Cursing at home, Bogus is stressed, but Pete's MIA, leaving us all a mess. Peter Bellotti, where did you go? Kids are wilding out, but you still miss the show. Bober's kids are swearing up a storm, but Pete's been gone so long it's the norm. School calls up, your kids got mouths. Meanwhile, Bellotti's sitting on the couch. Forget the soap for those potty mouth youth. It's Bellotti we need, but that's the real truth. The kids are wild, but let's get real clear. We all know who's ghosting around here. It's not the kids, it's Peter Bellotti. Still missing work, got excuses that are spotty. Cursing at home, Bogus is stressed, but Pete's MIA, leaving us all a mess. Peter Bellotti, where did you go? Kids are wilding out, but you still miss the show. Bellotti's clock is ticking, where's he been hiding? While Bogus is dealing with kids that he died, and we'd rather have Peter back in the seat than these little ones dropping curses like heat. It's not the kids, it's Peter Bellotti. Still missing work, got excuses that are spotty. Cursing at home, Bogus is stressed, but Pete's MIA, leaving us all a mess. Peter Bellotti.
On the block, it's no damn surprise. Caught on camera with those sneaky ass eyes. Where she writes mom, yeah, she made the news. Snatching up boxes like she paid her fucking dues. Is it Peter Bellotti taking the fucking ducks? He's never at work, could be leaving tracks. Perloff's out here blaming the folks, but it's Bellotti who's a sneaky ass bloke. Bloke! Amazon packages just fucking disappear. Perloff says, hey, don't live in fear. Blame yourself, don't whine or shout, but it's Bellotti who's the sneaky ass bloke. Amazon packages just fucking disappear. Perloff says, hey, don't live in fear. Blame yourself, don't whine or shout, but it's Bellotti who's the sneaky ass bloke. The Chiefs are at it again, down by some shit. Clock's ticking down, fans losing their wit. Mahomes in the huddle, grinning like a badass, ready to pull off another win, kicking ass. Another fucking close game, the Chiefs pull it out. Defense hanging on by the skin of their snout. But Mahomes and Kelsey chopping jaws on the grass, always fucking coming through, busting ass. The Chico runs wild like he's pissed at the ground. Chris Jones wrecks shit, throwing QBs around, but then they fall behind. Fans yelling, oh hell, just another Chiefs game, crazy as shit, can't you tell? Can't you tell? But wait, was Peter Bellotti nowhere in sight? Missing work again like it's his goddamn right. Chiefs out here grinding, busting their balls, while Bellotti's chilling, dodging work calls. Another
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Yankees stave off elimination. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But for how long? And if the Yankees win tonight, will you start believing that maybe history could be on the doorstep? And I just think, Perloff, that if the Yankees do find a way to win tonight, they have their ace Garrett Cole on the mound against Jack Flaherty of the Dodgers, then does the pressure now just switch completely to L.A.? The series goes back to L.A., and will the Dodgers perhaps start to get a little tight, and maybe we get a better series?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it's if they win tonight, and especially if they win the next game after that, then the pressure's really. I'm just saying if they win, I have to defer to the numbers in history. It's never been done in the World Series. It's been done once in playoff history, right? There's only been it was the Red Sox, Yankees. So I just think that I just can't see it. I can't believe it that there's any way that this Dodgers team blows 3 more games. It was a bullpen game last night, and Dave Roberts, the manager, called off the dogs at the end and put in his worst bullpen players. So I just think that they're still safe. But I'll admit that maybe a glimmer of doubt, but it's still generally like 175 years or whatever it is of baseball history, I think we'll win out.
You're probably right. And I think the Dodgers still have it. But if the Yankees do win tonight, I just wonder if they start to get tight. I mean, it's not like the Dodgers, I know they won in 2020, but that title is just not real in my mind because of the circumstances around it. They did the best that they could, but it's just not, it wasn't a real season, not their fault. And the Dodgers aren't exactly known under Dave Roberts for being this team that is able to overcome all obstacles and odds. So I wonder if they start to get a little bit tight if the Yankees can win tonight. And, but
the Yankees are the same. Are they a team that's known for overcoming obstacles?
Absolutely not. They're major front runners. No, definitely not. But the other part, too, is you saw at least Aaron Judge, who has been the biggest GOAT in a bad way for the Yankees in the postseason. He did actually get a hit last night, and he did maybe get the bat on the ball. Yes, the relievers were not good, but does that kickstart something where you could wake up a sleeping giant?
Well, you saw the game before, he had what looked like a home run swing. It just hit the end of the bat. So you could see him maybe seeing the baseball better. That's a big concern for the Dodgers. But then again, the Dodgers still have plenty of power. I mean,
totally.
Is this Yankees bullpen going to be able? The Yankees bullpen has had a surprising amount of success against the Dodgers. Will the Dodgers step up against them? So it just feels like they're equal in firepower.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step at you. The only 4 earned runs that the Yankees bullpen has given up was the Nestor Cortez grand slam to Freddie Freeman in extra innings in Game 1. And to be honest, that's not a spot where Nestor Cortez probably should have been pitching anyway. Yeah. But so the bullpen has really been doing their job. Here's one thing, and I just beg of us as people, citizens, sports fans, society, I beg of us. If somehow the Yankees turn this around and make it into a series, heaven forbid, say they win the thing.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Please do not make it about these 2 clowns who interfered with Mookie Betts last night in the first inning in a way that was so colossally embarrassing for every Yankee fan. Should be ashamed to be associated with 2 dudes like this. One of the guys who they're sitting in foul territory. They're in the front row. Mookie Betts is going over to catch a foul ball off of Gleyber Torres' bat. And this dude literally takes Betts' glove where the ball's been caught, pries it open, and rips the ball out while his idiot friend is holding on to Betts' wrist. The guy's a fetus. They got promptly removed from the stadium, but because of season ticket holders, they're letting them back in the game tonight. If this, do not make this the turning point, please.
I didn't even think of it being the turning point, but now that's all I can think about.
I'm begging, I'm pleading, not these 2 jabronis.
You shouldn't have even said that. This is the series that the fans turned around. Much like the Texas-Georgia game, except actually Texas lost the game, fans can win you games. That is the lesson that we're getting out of this.
This is the quote that the guy who was prying the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove, this is what he said to ESPN. If it's in our area, we're going to D him up. You sound like a D because you're not playing, dude. You're not playing. What is wrong with us? And I'm not going to say us. Most 99.999% of fans would never do something like this. What's wrong with you?
That is a funny quote. We're going to D him up.
Going to D him up. Who do you think you are? Kayvon Thibodeau? Get out of here. Be Quinnen Williams?
Playing more defense than that Bears guy who wasn't paying attention to the Hail Mary.
Tyreek Stevenson. This poor dude's apologizing left and right. He'll never live this down. By the way, he said he wasn't jawing with the fans. He said he was celebrating with the Bears fans who were there.
Let me ask you a question. The Yankees are you sure they're letting this guy? This boggles my mind. You told me this morning. They're letting these guys back into the stadium?
Bogus, you saw the same thing I did or no?
I saw the report saying that they said that the Yankees told them that they would be let back in. Mm-hmm. The Yankees made no comment on whether that was true. So that suggests that.
So
I'm not doubting you guys. I'm not doubting you guys in any way. I'm just saying this blows my mind. I can't compute that the Yankees would actually let those fans back in. That would be one of the most egregious oversteps a team has ever had. I mean, just they grab Mookie Betts' arm. If they're let back into the stadium and the camera finds them, then I think the Yankees look like a total joke.
Absolutely. And is the camera going to find them? They're in the first row.
You don't need the facial recognition for this one.
I mean, the Yankees are proud. I mean, they're the Yankees. They can't do this. They can't let these guys back in, sitting in the front row on camera. That would be way over the top.
Is there any chance that there could, I don't think it is, but any chance there could be a moment where, like, before the game, Mookie Betts goes over and they shake hands and make it try to make this something more savory than it is?
EJ, the guy says if it's in our area, we're going to D him up.
I know. It's crazy.
Well, Mookie wasn't hurt, so I don't know that we need this feel-good Armando Galarraga moment where I don't think we need America doesn't need a reconciliation of Mookie Betts and these two idiots. That's not like what we're waiting for.
Sit down, have a beer together. Actually, please don't have a beer together because you probably had too many, but I don't know what they were drinking. But anyway, this is silly to me that these guys, please let's not make them the turning point.
How does the Yankees not, when ESPN asks them if they're coming back, just say definitely not?
Well, because we're all going to see them in the front row.
That's crazy.
You know what could happen? So it's the day before Halloween, so it's Halloween time. What if they come in with a costume? Or like Bobby Valentine back in the day tried to sneak in with a fake mustache in after he'd been ejected from a game.
Well, is it like Madison Square Garden where they have this quite controversial facial recognition?
You can get around that if you're wearing a mask.
Do you think those guys get booed if they're there?
No, I think they're getting cheered.
Wow.
We're not functioning right now as a society.
Yeah, no.
Breaking rules is just, it's like applauded. I don't know.
You guys say that, but come on. Again, once in a while, that again feels like a bit of recency bias to say, like, because of this incident, fans are out of control. Like,
just add it to the list. No, not fans. I'm saying people. I'm not anti-fan. I'm anti these two. Anyway, it's Wednesday.
By the way, Jeffrey Mayer's still quite popular in this town.
At least that was a homer. This is a foul ball.
You're saying that was a waste of effort?
Jeffrey Mayer didn't attack the Oriole right fielder.
Yeah.
He just reached over the fence.
The other
part
same
too, thing.
Jeffrey Mayer was 12 years old.
Yeah.
As well.
If he had attacked him, he'd be a folk hero.
Or if the ump made the right call.
By the way, he attacked Albert Bell. That's only ending one way.
Oof. Yeah, no, Tony Tarasco was he was incensed, but he was not violent. Okay. It's Wednesday. It's great debate time.
The Great Debate Series.
I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, what are Maggie and Perloff going to do for their great debate, which we do every Wednesday? We said we're going to rip something from the headlines. They're probably going to do the biggest fan interactions of all time, but we're not going to do that.
Oh, that would have been fun. I never thought of that.
Next week?
Hit that next week. No, when we say it's a rip from the headlines.
Great Debate Thursday.
2.0.
How about Morgana the Kissing Bandit when she came out and kissed Nolan Ryan? Is that count in this?
Save it. No, we're not going to do that this week. We're going to
How's the San Diego chicken, by the way?
Slandered by me. When I said he got me too'd, he definitely didn't. Definitely did not. I was wrong about that 1,000 different ways.
Were you allowed back on the show the next day, or we banned you? I don't remember.
By the way, I never said it about the guy inside the costume. I thought the just mascot shtick was inappropriate.
Did you think that he did something inappropriate with a female chicken mascot?
Yeah, and he was the boss, and it was a power imbalance, and
they
therefore Me Too.
Were they wearing their costumes when this Me Too incident happened? Like, sometimes some of these mascots are trying to be funny, and they might touch the wrong parts of the other mascots.
That's what I thought happened. It turned out it was not the case, and I apologize profusely. Anyway, today's great debate, ripped from the headlines. By that, we mean Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson tapped out, took himself out of the game last week. Close game. Colts are playing the Texans, and he took himself out of the game because, quote, I was mad tired. End quote. So we're asking you today, what were the worst tap outs of all time? You know what we're talking about. It doesn't have to be a boxing or MMA. We're talking about people who took themselves out on their own volition. And what were the worst examples? Perloff, would you like to get us started?
Yeah, I'll start. Okay, so worst tap out. The one that jumps out to me is 1994 playoffs. Chicago Bulls, remember they did not have Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen became the 1A star of the team. Won 55 games, was pretty good. Advanced to the playoffs, win the first round, and face the Knicks. Huge second-round matchup. They are in a game, 1.8 seconds left. It's a tie game at 102. Scottie Pippen, he'd probably get the ball. Phil Jackson huddles the team, calls for a play for Tony Kukoc. So Scottie Pippen is not happy. He's so unhappy that he will not check into the game. Some more detail of this. According to Andrea Kramer, our buddy, who was an ESPN reporter at the time, said that other teammates were trying to convince him to get back in the game. They were saying, come on, what are you doing? Get in here. And Pippen started cursing and saying, I'm tired of this, and did not get back in the game with 1.8 seconds, just refused, sat on the bench and watched Kukoc hit the game-winning shot. Bulls eventually lost the series, but that's not the point. Scottie Pippen, stands with him forever. And unfortunately, when you think of the lore of the Bulls, everything's positive about Jordan, but this one sticks with Scottie Pippen. It was a huge mistake and one that he will never outlive.
The Bulls called a timeout and designed a play for Tony Kukoc. Scottie Pippen refused to go back in. Instead, he went to the end of the bench, necessitating a second timeout. Pippen and Jackson got into a cussing match, but Scottie still refused to budge.
It wasn't pretty much Phil taking me out of the game. It was like, we exchanged words and I just took a seat.
That was not good.
Was that 1904 or 1994?
Yeah, it did sound, I don't know.
The Hindenburg was going down behind them.
The Chicago Bulls are playing the New York Knickerbockers. Tony dribbles to the left.
Barry Sloan matched up against Clyde Frazier.
Yes.
You said that the fact that they lost the series doesn't matter. I think that's a huge part of it.
But they won that game. Kukoc hit the shot.
No, I know, but the fact that they lost the series, I think, does make it stick a little bit more.
So you're saying there was a carryover from that. I think the fact that they won the game plays into it somehow. I don't know. It makes him look worse because Kukoc hit the shot. Like Phil Jackson did call a good play.
All right, we're doing the worst tap outs of all time in sports. That's our great debate today. I'll go next, and we're going to keep it quick here. We got to roll. Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran is not remembered for being one of the great boxers of all time. The late Burt Sugar called him one of the top 10 boxers ever. He was a champion in multiple different weight classes, and he was a pride of Panama. He beat an undefeated Sugar Ray Leonard to set up a rematch in which Sugar Ray Leonard was soundly beating Duran. And in the 8th inning, Leonard is showboating and kind of making a bit of a mockery of the fight. But that led to a famous incident where Duran allegedly said, "No mas."
Duran has quit! Roberto Duran has quit! There can be no other explanation. Pandemonium in the ring, and Roberto Duran has quit.
Howard Cosell, obviously, and that we're asking the worst tap outs of all time. Now, Duran said that he actually said, I don't want to fight this clown anymore. I don't want to box him anymore. And said, no sigo, I won't go on. Not no mas, but listen, the legend is the legend. And multiple people said they heard him say, no more, no mas. Roberto Duran is the worst tap out of all time. All right, EJ, go quick.
All right, so whenever something becomes a meme, that's the guy I want to go with. So everyone now has seen the image of Antonio Brown in the Jets end zone, no shirt on, no gloves, peace not the fans. Him leaving mid-game in a Jets game versus the Buccaneers is my pick for worst tap out.
Antonio Brown, that's Antonio Brown without his uniform, we are told, without his jersey, and running onto the field. I don't know if that could have been a penalty.
Guys, very odd situation. Antonio Brown boiled over, very upset on the sideline, took off his shoulder pads. Mike Evans, O.J. Howard trying to convince him to keep them on. Obviously, they were unable to do so. He tossed his shoulder pads, stripped off his shirt and glove, threw those into the crowd, then ran across the field while the teams were still on the field, giving the crowd a peace out sign.
I would say it was surprising. I would say it was surprising, but it is Antonio Brown. But it is still the absolute worst case of a tap out. He didn't get enough receptions to meet a guarantee that he wanted, and that was really annoying him. And he decided, I'm done, and left. And that was the last we've seen Antonio Brown on a football field.
Remember Tom Brady had to lead him on this last-ditch second drive to even get out of there with a win?
Yeah, I know. They were losing to the Jets, which probably was the reason why he wanted out, too. He's like, I can't get catches and we're losing to Zach Wilson? No, can't do it anymore.
Oh, my goodness. We're talking about the worst tap-outs of all time, inspired by Anthony Richardson taking himself out of the Colts-Texans game on Sunday. Ryan Botcher, who do you have, sir?
Real quick, 2020 Yoenis Cespedes during the COVID season. Mets were down in Atlanta, and one day he just doesn't show up. It's a Sunday in Atlanta. They're like, okay, where's Cespedes? He's in the lineup. Can't find him. Team sent security to the hotel. He's MIA. Report after he said he just doesn't want to play baseball anymore because of COVID. But he also stole the team's smoke machine so they would celebrate in the locker room. So he went MIA, didn't tell the team, quit on the team, and stole their fun in the locker room.
He quit, and he stole their fog machine. Epic.
So did he ever play again? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't think he ever played a single game in MLB since.
He really tapped out for good.
He tried out, but never made an MLB roster.
Ultimate quit.
I had no idea.
He also somebody who, fun fact, got hurt because he fell into
a wild boar.
Yep, fell into a hole.
That was the year before.
Fractured his ankle. Yoenis Cespedes, a famous tap out, are asking for the worst tap outs of all time. Bogish, take us home.
As I like to do, I'm going with hockey. This is December 2nd, 1995 in Montreal.
Larionov behind the net. Sends it out to Fedorov. Scores! Sergei Fedorov! Bingo, bango. Here comes the hook. Have mercy on me.
The dramatic music added afterwards. That was Patrick Waugh being pulled after giving up 9 goals on 26 shots. He was visibly angry throughout the game for not being pulled after allowing less than 9 goals. He comes off the ice. He walks past his hated head coach, Mario Tremblay, then walks back across his face to tell the team president, that was my last game for the team. They suspended him. Then they traded him. And he ended up winning the Stanley Cup for the Avalanche that year, so it kind of worked out for a while. But quitting the organization mid-second period is a pretty significant achievement.
Wow. All right, there you have it. The worst tap-outs of all time, inspired by Anthony Richardson taking himself out.
Yeah, I don't think Anthony Richardson in a Week 7 game is going to make this list.
No, we just said it's inspired by that.
Yeah. No,
he's not on this list.
No, and I'm saying that I'm like, I hope this doesn't make the list. Like,
there have been worse, but these are some of the worst.
The fact that it inspired that list is not a good sign for the young Colts player.
And now he's been benched allegedly,
but not for this.
See, I think he is benched for this. He's been bad for a while.
I mean, they were probably. Shane Steichen probably wants to bench him, considering Joe Flacco gives him a better chance to win, and everybody knows that. But the GM probably wants him out there, I would think. It's like, what's the point, right? Like,
well, is the GM going to get a chance to pick another quarterback?
Chris Ballard, I don't know. People love Chris Ballard, and he's made a lot of good picks. Their team is always good except for quarterback, and Luck got hurt. It's not his fault.
I know it's been a revolving door there ever since. They've been looking for the answer. All right, there you go. The worst tap outs in sports, 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in. What did we miss? Maggie and Perloff. Coming up next, we've got an existential question for one NFL team.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Great debate Wednesday. We're doing loosely inspired by Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson tapping his helmet to come out of the game because he was too tired last Sunday. The worst tap outs in sports history. I went with Scottie Pippen not going on the court in the 1994 playoffs. Maggie?
I went with Roberto Duran, no Moss in the rematch against Sugar Ray Leonard.
Okay. EJ?
Peace sign. Antonio Brown leaves Bucks Jets game mid-game shirtless.
Also the coolest tap out. Ryan?
Yoenis Cespedes, MIA.
And
Andrew Bogusch, he'll be back in, but he went with Patrick Waugh at his ending in Montreal, where he basically quit in the middle of the second quarter. He was then benched, then traded. Suspended, then traded. Then won the Stanley Cup.
There's been, think about it, there's a lot of tap outs in sports history. The one that we talked about was Vontae Davis, the Bills cornerback, leaving at halftime of a game and retiring.
He did. He retired literally at halftime. And as a Bills fan, that was a real rock bottom low moment because the Bills have been so bad for so long, you almost couldn't blame him. And he, just up and retired at halftime. And it became sort of this focal point of Bills' futility that they, to their credit, turned around with Josh Allen. But sadly, Vontae Davis passed away not too long ago. He's only 35 years old. They think that he slipped and fell coming out of a sauna. Just a really tragic thing. But we're asking you about the worst tap outs of all time. Sean is in Oregon. Sean, who is it?
Hey, I think it's the best one of all time. And it's when it was kind of a tap out, timeout, when Paul Pierce had to take a bathroom break in the finals.
Did they need the wheelchair? I don't think they needed
That
the
was
wheelchair.
Awesome. I was like, I can't believe he's coming back. What a hero.
It was. Sean, you're right. I mean, you tap out for a bathroom break. Nature calls, man. Like, you got to do what you got to do. But it was just funny that they needed to get the wheelchair out. And he's denied this at certain points.
Yeah. I remember you guys didn't even know the story that Bobby Hurley had to tap out of the national title game
for a bathroom.
Yeah, but he's wearing compression shorts when he ran out of the court in the middle of the game, like 8 minutes into the game, and came back with no compression shorts on. So everyone knew exactly it wasn't a hamstring injury. But listen, you're running around; it happens. It happens to the best of us.
Lamar Jackson. He had that. That was a Monday night or Sunday night football where he had to quickly vacate the field.
Yes. I'm sure of the history of the game, there have been thousands of incidents of that. Harbaugh actually had a heart issue, and we all thought it was a bathroom break.
Totally thought it was a bathroom break. Turns out he has like
atrial fibrillation or something, and he says he's fine, has the heart of an athlete, he said the next day. So
I also think the nerves have to get to you. I'm surprised. You're right. I'm surprised we don't see more dudes just like running for the bathroom. Mike is in Syracuse. Mike, the worst tap out in the history of sports is who?
Stanley Wilson on the eve of Super Bowl, 23? Cincinnati Bengals fullback went on a cocaine binge the night before, and they had no choice but to leave him off the roster.
Was that worse than the Raiders center, Barrett Robinson, or what? I might have the wrong name, who went totally missing, like missing? Barrett Robinson.
Yeah. Well, you make the decision to actually put the drug in your body. Unfortunately for the Raiders dude, he was just messed up in the head.
Yeah, see, I wonder, Mike, it's a memorable one for sure. Does addiction fall into a different kind of category? These guys were really hurting. We're talking about people just up and took themselves out of games because they were either fed up, ticked off. No, a little bit different. Although Antonio Brown is, who knows what's going on with that dude. EJ's selection. Will's in California. Will, what's the worst tap out ever? Oh, Will was going to.
He got scared.
Will tapped out.
Jeez.
He's going to support my pick, too, which is annoying.
The Antonio Brown one, we should talk about that every day.
But it was, the only thing is the stakes were not super high, as I recall. Like, was Antonio Brown even really a thing at that point? The wheels were coming off the Antonio Brown.
It was the year after the Super Bowl, right?
Was it the year after?
Yeah, it was the year after. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl with them, so it was the year after.
Yeah, but I felt like that was just like ending a process of him moving away from the team. I felt like that was like his 9th controvery of the year.
Do you remember?
It was awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's the funniest one by far.
He had 100 yards the week before.
Do you guys remember the fallout from that was not just him leaving the team. A couple things happened. One, apparently the woman he had spent the night with the night before, then ended up going on WFAN in New York and detailing their entire night together.
Remember that?
That was one other weird part of that. And then the other is Antonio Brown takes to social media to air out Tom Brady and Brady's body man, Alex Guerrero, but he didn't really come with the receipts he thought he came with, and instead it made Guerrero look great.
Yeah.
He's like, look at this bum. And Guerrero's text message like, hey, man, I'm really sorry it didn't work out. I'm happy to provide you with a full refund. Like, it just didn't land. And he basically burned a bridge with the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he was like, Brady's this terrible friend. And then like text over Brady like, hey, man, like, hope you're doing okay.
Yeah. Worried about you, thinking about you. It's like, oh, yeah, what a monster. No, Brady seems like the best guy ever. And so did Guerrero. That was a bizarre one. We don't talk about it enough.
Yeah, I didn't love. If I was Brady, I would not have brought Antonio Brown into the fold. Like, what did he expect was going to happen? Brown was already
with his house.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was a bizarre move by Tom Brady because we already knew Antonio Brown was suffering with something.
He's out there, man.
By the way, I watched the new Aaron Hernandez drop last night. Watched it live.
Wait, there's another one?
No, the series. It's like a 9-part series.
I just assumed it was a movie.
No. It's on FX. It's the story of Aaron Hernandez. And I got to tell you, like, at first it was a joke. I'm now super into it. So Odin Lloyd showed up. It is the saddest story what happened to that guy. So he was this nice guy. Anyway, you guys know what happened. But FX is doing the story of Aaron Hernandez. And it went from super funny and weird to, like, tragic. And the guy who plays Aaron Hernandez has now totally won me over.
Really?
Yeah, he is really good.
Odin Lloyd was the construction worker who happened to cross paths with Hernandez?
And he was a part-time football player. And according to the movie on FX, he was a very nice guy who, for some reason, just got caught up in this Aaron Hernandez mess. Aaron Hernandez like the PCP, according to the show as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Anyway, I don't know how we got onto that. Because, but Antonio Brown, like Tom Brady should have known. If you bring in Antonio Brown in, like, I think Tom Brady had the savior complex because Brown was already saying completely outrageous things. That's why I'm saying, EJ, it felt like it was just a matter of time before he took his clothes off in the middle of the football game and ran out.
And ran away. Yeah, how did we all not see that coming? Bogus is here. Speaking of true crime, Bogues, you said the last 2 days you've been out sick, unfortunately, but you're back. We're thrilled to have you, but you've just been home binging true crime documentaries.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got?
I got the new Zodiac Killer thing on Netflix.
I know so much about the Zodiac Killer, I didn't even need to watch this.
Oh, sorry. Which then led me to a
Smartest
show.
guy in the room.
Yeah, that was only okay, but I'm a sucker for any of these shows. It's called like Missing, Dead or Alive, about a South Carolina missing persons investigative team.
Oh, yeah. I saw it. Have you watched the one where the woman's on the dating game with the serial killer?
So I actually just hit play on that this morning on the train with Anna Kendrick.
Yes. That's a true story.
What's this one? Explain it.
So it's based on true events, but Anna Kendrick goes on the dating game, and one of the 3 bachelors is a serial killer.
It's that game show, the dating game, where a woman basically has to choose between 3 bachelors.
Yeah, Chuck Woolery or whatever. Was he that guy?
That's not the name of the guy in the show.
That's Love Connection?
Yeah, but I don't know if the name of the host in the movie is his actual name. It's Burke. His last name is Burke.
Okay.
Anyway, one of the 3 guys was a serial killer, and that really happened.
Yeah, being a woman sometimes is a real drag, guys. You go on a dating go on a dating show, think you're meeting Mr. Right. It turns out that he's a serial killer. We can't relax for a second.
That's one thing about The Bachelor. You don't get the serial killer types. You get
They have background checks.
You get guys who are just there for the Instagram love. That's
they're psychos, just in a very different way.
Or you get the guys who are just because they want to go on that thing that goes over the pool.
Zip line.
I'm just here for the zip line. That's from a comedy show. Tim Robinson. Anyway, or Tim whatever.
Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
Well, get this, Maggie. She goes on the dating game because she's an actress that can't book a job, partly because she won't take her clothes off on film. So the gross 70s male movie producers won't hire her.
Great, yeah, because she won't do Last Tango in Paris, and now all of a sudden she can't get a gig.
Right.
By the way,
more
Maggie,
things change, guys. The more they stay the same.
So, Maggie, you don't waste time watching these true crime documentaries.
No, I don't want to be going down the rabbit hole of watching basically all these women get murdered or nearly
Well,
murdered.
the Zodiac is mostly a lot of women. You're right.
It's always, spoiler, it's always a lot of women. So, no, I don't find that to be a good time.
What about a cult documentary?
I'm not into that. I saw the one that your uncle was in.
Wild Wild West?
Yeah.
That felt like a joke, but it was real.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Perloff, it's your story.
Well, yeah, my uncle, he followed the Bhagwan Rajneesh, which was a great Netflix documentary about a cult in Oregon in the 70s.
And he got out of it.
Yeah. Everybody got out of it because the Bhagwan disbanded.
So this
by
is
the way, people in our Oregon audience know all about this.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And it was a really well done documentary. I think won some awards.
Yeah.
And they were nuts.
Yeah. There was a documentary recently about that cult in upstate New York that had the actress from the CW who was the leader.
Yeah, that was the actress from Smallville.
Yeah, that's a good cult documentary too.
For some reason, the cult stuff doesn't do it for me. The cult stuff and the true crime stuff doesn't do it for me.
I think you're in a minority on this. I think everybody loves these things.
And I think women watch it a lot, which is funny because I'm like, really, you want to watch like something that you know kind of ends badly for another woman? But no, I told you guys, I got briefly into the JFK stuff, and now I'm off of that, and I just basically watch sports now.
My favorite line about documentaries, and this is a joke that's told a lot, this Shane Gillis joke about how if you find yourself watching a World War II documentary, you're halfway on your way to being a Republican. Just, but nothing to do with politics. I just think it's funny. Like at a certain point in my life, I'm like, what was Patton's plan for this invasion? I think I'll click on this. I don't know when it changed.
Ooh, it's in color now. I'll watch it.
I don't know when it changed. It might have been when I turned 40. I don't know. But I was like, whoa, World War II. Yeah, it's in color now. Yes. And I remember Tony Soprano and The Sopranos used to sit around and watch those World War II documentaries. I thought, that's boring. But now I totally get it.
It is fascinating and some shades of it coming back around. Bogush, you have headlines for us.
And they're sponsored by LinkedIn. Let LinkedIn's deep Canada insights help you find your next Pro Bowl hire today. To post your job for free, go to linkedin.com/recruitment. Terms and conditions apply. As you may have heard by now, Anthony Volpe grew up a Yankee fan. He was at the parade the last time they won the World Series. So last night's go-ahead grand slam in Game 4 with their season on the line was pretty cool.
I think I pretty much blacked out as soon as I saw it go over the fence. But no, we just want to keep putting pressure on them. And I think everyone had confidence in everyone in the lineup that someone was going to get the big hit. And we've been having such good at-bats and putting such good swings on the ball that, I mean, we just felt like it was only a matter of time.
The Yanks never trailed again, but couldn't relax until a 5-run eighth. They won Game 4, 11-4, after scoring just 7 runs total while losing the first 3 games of the Fall Classic. Game 5, 8:08 Eastern tonight. Garrett Cole, Jack Flaherty back on the mound like Game 1. The Dodgers still in control of this series, but could probably use a big play from Shohei Ohtani. Dave Roberts says that's possible despite Ohtani's shoulder injury.
We've asked him many times over, and it's not impeding. He doesn't feel it. I just think it's just the chase. You see it. I mean, there's some big at-bats that, could result in a walk and not taking the base, and chasing is, hasn't been good.
As you guys said, it's hard to say that it's not bothering him when he basically holds it while running.
Yeah.
His left arm.
It's crazy. And the fact that he still has to slide, like he still has to execute the play while holding onto his shoulder like he's holding it in place.
It's insane.
But if they didn't sit him last night, they're certainly not sitting him tonight.
He looked much more comfortable swinging for the most part yesterday. Like the last game, Game 3 was terrible. They kind of need him now, right? I mean, but he has not produced at a high level. It's been all Freddie Freeman.
He also was not having a tremendous postseason to begin with.
He's been good with runners on base, though. He had that gaudy stat.
Right, that crazy stat where he was like 0 for 19 with nobody on base and then 6 for 8 with runners in scoring position. He walked a lot against the Mets, but like he has not been lights out. And he's 2 for 15 in the series, which includes 2 fully healthy games. Because he was fine for Game 1 and all of Game 2, basically.
Well, I think also he's drawing a lot of walks because when you're leading off and you're leading off the game, that's obviously, you just pitch around him, Don't give him anything. And so that's like a catch-22.
The 121-loss White Sox have reportedly picked Will Venable as their new manager. He's been the associate manager under a friend of the show, Bruce Bochy, for the last 2 years in Texas. Yesterday's NFL headlines included the Colts benching Anthony Richardson, Stefon Diggs torn ACL, and the Vikings trading for Jaguars left tackle Cam Robinson. He will replace the injured Christian Darrisaw. Lonzo Ball hurt again. The Bulls guard sprained his right wrist Monday night in Memphis, and just his third game back from missing 2+ years of those knee issues. He'll be reevaluated in 10 days. No Steph Curry or Andrew Wiggins for the Warriors last night. They fell into a 20-point hole to the Pelicans and then won 124-106 with Buddy Hield scoring 28. Domantas Sabonis had 28 plus 11 boards, and the Kings 113-106 win or 96 win in Sacramento. That doesn't make sense. The Kings won in Utah. Kyrie Irving scored 35 in the Mavs 120-114 win in Minnesota, and Nikola Jokic had 28, 18 boards, 16 assists in the Nuggets 144-139 win in OT. And our San Jose Sharks are now red hot, guys. Back-to-back wins, 4-2 over the Kings last night. That 9-game winless streak to open the season is now distant history.
I think it's because we abandoned them.
Yeah.
We tapped out.
And now we're back.
I got a $1 million idea for a podcast, by the way. And I'm sorry, Maggie, you're going to be left out of this one.
It's okay.
It's me and Bogish are going to do a true crime podcast about true crime documentaries or a true crime. So basically, because true crime podcasts are a big deal and true crime documentaries. So we just break down the documentary we saw last night on Netflix.
Oh, I mean,
no investigative reporting.
It's a great idea.
I don't know who would listen to this.
A coffee table book about coffee tables. I love it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
To be honest, though, I'm not gonna listen.
No, definitely not.
Not surprising.
That's why you're not invited. Otherwise, you'd be welcome.
Can't even text us when we're dying if we're not going to listen to an entire podcast.
That's a big heaping dose of I don't give a.
Yeah. Plus, you got to rewatch Raiders Steelers for a second time.
Don't be hating on the Andrew and Andrew true crime podcast about other true crime podcasts.
Wow, that really rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Honestly, can't wait.
Andrew and Andrew true crime podcast about other true crime podcasts.
I tell you that's going to be a rev share. I don't know if they're going to give you anything up front. But live your dreams, guys. And it's like a side hustle, and you're already watching the docs. You might as well turn it into something productive.
Can you imagine anything more boring than hearing people talk about the document? Like, it's hard enough to get into the documentary.
I think this would be a hit.
I'd be stunned if this was a new idea. Like, this has to exist somehow already.
But why would you? No. A true crime podcast, you actually have to do some investigative work and like go to the place and pull up the files or something.
Yeah.
No, but you're not saying you're doing that. You're just talking about the people who did all the legwork.
So
poking holes in their, I don't know, like methodology.
On today's podcast, we're going to break down the Boston Globe podcast on Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. It's a review.
I think you guys should get started today. I don't know what's holding you back.
Well,
you got a studio over there.
Yeah, we'll have a scale of Andrews to rate the shows.
6 Andrews.
Yeah.
All right.
How many Andrews does this get? I gave it 4 Drews, 2 Andys.
Oof. Sounds like a good one.
The Rotten Tomato score. The Andy score.
Want a producing credit at least? We'll give you that.
No, she's out.
I'm out.
She's out.
All right, fine. It's going to be the next Smartless.
This is like the person who, when the whole office goes in on the lottery ticket for the Powerball, and I'm like, no, I'm good. And then you guys hit it rich, and you're just getting $100 million deal from Spotify, and I'm like, wait a minute, who's the biggest challenger to the Lions in the NFC? Maggie, pat me on the head. You little poor person. You should have come with us to the Andy and Andy pod.
The Andy and Andy true crime podcast about other true crime podcasts.
Just a sensation. You guys are in Times Square taking pictures. I'm like in the side, like, hey, remember me?
Did you see what Deion Sanders did yesterday?
Playing, hey, Aaron Rodgers said something silly.
WTF?
No. Sorry, you're over there counting your money. Thank you, folks. 855-212-4227. On second thought, maybe I will get in on that.
Yeah. Today, Keith Morrison talks about the 2016 episode of Dateline.
With Andy and Andy.
Andy and Andy.
It's a 4 Andy episode.
Why was he walking with a suitcase at 3 p.m?
It's always broad daylight.
All right.
Broad daylight.
He said, stand over here next to this cliff to take the picture. She should have thought twice about that selfie.
Yep. Man. All right, I'm in. 855-212-4227. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. On Wednesdays, we do something called the Great Debate. So we're asking, what's the worst tap out in the history of sports? This isn't inspired by Anthony Richardson. By no means is he the worst, but got us thinking about other people. Perloff said Scottie Pippen. I said Roberto Duran. EJ has Antonio Brown. Ryan said Yoenis Cespedes. And Bogish said Patrick Waugh in Montreal. So keep them coming. Let's go to David, who's in Maryland. Big Dodger fan. How you feeling about tonight, David?
Well, I'm not really a Dodger fan, but I'm kind of disappointed that MLB, didn't make the decision to make the Yankees forfeit the game yesterday, because that was totally disgraceful what happened in the first inning. And don't get me wrong, I think, fans, do have a right to, to shout and, for their team and, root for their team. But I think it went too far last night, and I think MLB done them a disservice, too, because they didn't even punish the fans. They let the game keep going on. It should have been an automatic win for the Dodgers. And I relate to this. And actually,
hold on. Wait, David, I understand what you're saying, but you realize to make the Yankees forfeit because some idiot in the front row tried to take the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove would be insane.
Well, no, that would punish the fans, and that would make them think twice about doing some stupid, idiotic stuff.
I know, David, you can't hand the World Series to the Dodgers because of this.
I mean, it's an unfortunate situation. And I think, like I said, I'm all for rooting for your team. Don't get me wrong. When I go to the games, I root for them, too, and I get hollering and everything. But, I mean, this is my opinion. I think it went too far last night. Everybody has a different opinion, and you have a right to your opinion, I think
but David, I'm sorry, but your opinion is wild. I've never heard anything like that.
And that's fine. Some people don't see nothing wrong with what the guy did. So, I mean.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. David, thank you so much for the call.
By the way, also had a little Mel Kiper in his voice.
This is our guy who sounds like Mel Kiper.
Yeah.
He called the other day.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if they had forfeited the game, the Dodgers going to run on and celebrate because it was a clinching game.
Can't do that.
No, but I think David misinterpreted. A lot of people are taking this very seriously.
Nobody thinks this is okay.
Yeah.
Well,
except apparently maybe the Yankees.
Well, actually, I don't want to say nobody. The person in some circles is kind of being treated a little bit like a cult hero, and I don't love that. This person should not be put on a pedestal.
I do think there are some people who think this is kind of cool. It shows passion from the fans.
According to ESPN, who found the guy after he did get removed from the game, he said if anyone comes in our area, we're going to D him up. D stands for dummy for this guy, not defense. What are you even talking about? Did you get lost on the way to MetLife Stadium? What is the matter with you? And by the way, you're not playing. I get it. You got a front row seat. Good for you. You're a season ticket holder. Awesome. You got money. Good for you, or wish you all the best. You don't get to interfere like that.
It's beyond dope, though. It almost feels like that's too nice a word. It's not just stupidity. It's
entitlement.
It's just ridiculous. I don't know what to say. He should be banned for life, obviously.
I don't think that's happening. In fact, because he's a season ticket holder.
What's that have to do with anything?
Well, this is what I was talking about this earlier, that he could get back into the game and that the Yankees haven't given an official statement. Ryan's shaking his head.
Horrible.
It's just bad.
Get the elbow next.
Would you have forfeited the game immediately, Ryan?
No
comment. See you guys on the phone. 855-212-4227. Again, the worst tap outs in the history of sports, people who just straight up quit. We also have the new most fascinating man in sports. We'll get to that.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Things getting a little more interesting in the World Series. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It's just one win, but the Yankees avoid the sweep last night, Pearl, and the Dodgers still have the clear advantage here. But you do have Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees. And if the Yankees are able to win this game, I think all the pressure in the world now goes on the Dodgers.
Yeah, I don't know, though, because, all right, say it does get to 3-2. Then you have 2 games at home. I think early on in the series, the Yankees were feeling pressured. If it gets to 3-2, like the Yankees go out, you think they're going to be able to stay loose for this whole thing?
I think so, because 0-3 is rock bottom. Well, I mean, getting swept is rock bottom. But, you know, if you can't play a little bit looser at 0-3, and the Bats got going last night, they scored 11 runs last night, and I was totally against putting out Luis Gil and not using Garrett Cole yesterday, but I will take accountability. I'm proven wrong here, because now that they've won a game, now you have your ace on the mound. They should win this game. And I know that the Dodger fans are probably going to be pumped up and positive. If the Yankees, by the way, can even get this back to LA, they'll be pumped up and positive. But you never know how a team's going to respond, where now you feel like you're in the must-win game. Now you feel like it's, you know, you're thinking now everything you have to lose, while the Yankees could be looking at everything they have to gain because everyone counted them out.
Yeah, you're right. You know, the one thing about the Dodgers, they have a lot of guys who've been here before and won.
That's
you know,
true.
Mookie's a champion, Freeman's a champion. The Yankees, help me out, I don't think there are any championship players. So it does feel like
Anthony Rizzo won with the Cubs.
Okay, that's one good one. Yeah, but generally though, the Dodgers don't seem like a team that is set up for a massive failure. Of course, this is what you always say until the team has the massive. You wouldn't have said that really about the 0-4 Yankees.
No way.
But the Dodgers seem like in a good position. First of all, they have Freddie Freeman is Superman. One thing is, is Shohei a problem? Is he a help or a hindrance here?
Well, his shoulder is obviously something's going wrong. He's literally holding on to it while he's running, like as if it's going to pop out and fall down like it's a Mr. Potato Head or something. He has to hold on to it while he's running, while he's sliding. He was able to get a hit last night, but he's obviously compromised.
Let me ask you this question. If you're the Dodgers, knowing what you just said, that they could be tight if they get the series to 3-2, do you really go all out with your bullpen and maybe even throw a starter out there in the bullpen? Treat tonight like a must-win game?
I think you should, but I don't think Dave Roberts will.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But they have Jack Flaherty going tonight, so Walker Buehler, and Yamamoto are really their guys, and then after that they go to bullpen games, which is why everyone thought they were so vulnerable to begin with, and it turns out not really. Now, last night, the Yankees get to them, and you wonder if Aaron Judge getting a hit and Volpe with the big grand slam and Gleyber Torres hits a 3-run home run, do they start believing a little bit? Because they were getting bubkiss from everyone else in the lineup except for Stanton and a little bit from Soto. So I just beg and plead and pray and hope and all of the wishful things that if the Yankees do start this historic comeback, please do not credit the 2 jabronis who were in foul territory in the front row who interfered with Mookie Betts. Those guys do not deserve the credit in the clout. Those guys are what's wrong with fan behavior, not what's right.
Unfortunately, you have no say in this, and you know it's going to happen.
I feel like it's already happening. I'm swimming upstream because I'm seeing stories written about it.
You root for a team who had their season turned around by a giant purple fast food restaurant mascot.
That was
Grimace.
one thing.
That's classy.
This is almost equal to Grimace.
No, I'd say
And
this is as low class, I guess, as Hawk Tua, but she's kind of turned out to have a pretty good sense of humor. No. This is about these 2 guys. And may I please read a little more for you about these air quotes heroes. Austin Capobianco is 38 years old. He got kicked out of the game last night along with his friend, Peter. He's a season ticket holder. And you guys remember, this is the first inning where these 2 yahoos, literally one guy rips the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove. I mean, what is wrong with you? And the other guy is grabbing Mookie Betts by the wrist, his other wrist, putting his hands on a Major League Baseball player who's trying to make a play because they said this is our area. Like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, he said, we always joke about the ball coming in our area, he said at a local bar after the game. We're not going to go out of our way to attack. If it's in our area, we're going to D it up.
Wait, this is at a local bar?
they got kicked out of the game, so I'm assuming they went to Billy's or Stan's or whatever right outside the stadium and probably sat there and got free drinks all night.
Jeez.
I know.
They needed more drinks. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I don't know. It did. It was just so beyond stupid. But Perloff, they can't get credit. I'm not giving it to them.
So
This is about.
are you even willing to go as far to say you're rooting for the Dodgers tonight just to avoid this possible scenario?
I didn't really have a rooting interest. You and I made picks.
If you're watching on YouTube, does anyone notice that Maggie's wearing a particularly Dodger blue top tonight?
I didn't even plan it that way. No, I had no rooting interest in this whatsoever. And yeah, I think I'm on the Dodgers now because of this.
Dodger Mags.
But the problem is Anthony Volpe grew up like right around where I live now. So you'd think I'd feel a little for the hometown guy. But and he was great last night.
You guys know I'm all about the Dodgers in the series. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate seeing my coworkers be happy, and there are a lot of Yankees fans around here. I can't deal with that. If the Yankees win, then they walk around their office like they own the place. I hate it. There's nothing, and at least I'm consistent about this. I do not want to see my friends and coworkers have their teams win and not mine.
What a guy.
It is the most consistent
EJ,
thing about you.
I can't help it. Like if I tried to pretend I was happy for your Miami Hurricanes, it just wouldn't come out right.
No, but he'll say Cam Ward's my guy.
I know.
Cam Ward, I've been a Cam Ward. I actually would watch his games at Incarnate Word on the internet. It was this illegal stream.
Wow, that is like saying I saw Nirvana in a coffee shop in 1989.
By the way, Cam Ward's your guy in Miami. Just got there 6 weeks ago.
No.
Yeah, he's EJ's guy. But this is the most consistent thing about you is you're like really hoping that your friends and coworkers don't see any kind of joy.
I would genuinely root for the Buffalo Bills in any other situation if I did not work with you. Because they're a very easy team to root for, but nope, can't have you. Because it's immediately like you fall down a peg when your friend walks in with his or her chest out saying like, I won last night. It makes you feel bad. Of course you got to root against your friends if they root for different teams.
But wait a minute. The Eagles made the Super Bowl and I was so pumped for you.
Get out of here.
I was.
I don't recall that at all.
Well, I didn't want the Chiefs to win again.
You said so many mean things about the Eagles. You're like, yeah, classy fans. Like you've never said 3 nice things about the Philadelphia Eagles.
You threw batteries at Santa. I didn't do that.
No.
That.
They threw snowballs at Santa.
Same.
Get it right, Bills fan.
Yeah, like the Bills fans aren't exactly.
Wait. You think that you've been thrilled for me about the Eagles fans? You say so many accurate and negative things about the Phillies. Well, look at what you said. Let's look at your record on Nick Sirianni.
Oh, well, that guy's a doofus. But that I'm very consistent.
Then what is it that you've said that is nice about the Eagles?
I felt like I was brainstorming how to get you a ticket to the Super Bowl. You know, when you were like, how are we going to get you a ticket? Remember?
No. And by the way,
we were brainstorming.
Oh, no. It was how would I get a credential to this?
That too. Credential. I was super supportive of all that.
I don't recall that.
I have dementia.
I feel like I don't get what Perloff's saying, but I feel like it would make more sense if it was teams that are rivals. So like you not root for the Mets, I totally get it.
Yes, we don't root for the Phillies around here.
A lot of your teams are rivals of mine. Generally, there's a lot of Mets fans where we work, and I'm a Phillies fan. There's a lot of Knicks fans, hate the Knicks.
Yeah.
There's Giants fans, a longtime rival.
But what's the beef with the Miami Hurricanes then?
A lot of attitude with the Hurricanes.
Oh, gosh.
A lot of
Bills,
cockiness.
Miami, there's no beef between the Bills and Eagles.
There's beef between Bills and Miami, though. There's beef between what used to be back in
going
the
back
Big
to
East, is Syracuse and Miami.
Right, that's old school.
That-
Get out of here.
Well, I mean, we're talking about old stuff here.
Syracuse and Miami have beef from what?
They're in the Big East.
Being in the Big East.
In football.
Well,
Right.
I mean, Syracuse wasn't really holding the candle.
Yeah, I mean,
But then they
as
smoked
a list of
Miami
college
in the late
football
90s.
rivalries, that's as close to the bottom as we're ever going to
Yeah,
get.
but you also had Dolphins and Bills. So it was like
Yeah.
2 upstate New York / South Florida things.
Yeah, in 1993.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not today. It's not a wild ACC.
But you don't have a beef with either the Bills or the Canes. There is no correlation between Dartmouth and Miami.
You can understand one thing.
Say that again. Sorry, Miami.
No, Miami's hard to get into now. It's a real elite school. But Yankees fans, it's not just about rooting against my coworkers. It is, Yankees fans can get awfully full of themselves. And I think you kind of saw that last night. Like, there is something about the evil empire feel is sneaking back into this.
Yeah, well, and these two guys are the worst example of this because you have this spotlight and people are like, oh, this is Jeffrey Mayer, going back to 1995 ALCS, right? 95, 96 ALCS against the Orioles. 96, thank you, with Tony Tarasco and that whole thing. This is not that. This was foul territory. That at least was a home run. And we didn't have replay back then. There was no recourse. Now you're going to look at the thing from 100 different angles. This is just beyond stupid of these guys. But according to them, talking to ESPN, these two dudes who got ejected from the game last night, they said they'll be allowed back in the stadium tonight. So it's their word, and the Yankees have not confirmed or denied.
Well, we're going to find out. It's going to be the one thing to watch. First inning, I assume they'll pan to that part of the foul line.
Oh, my gosh. If those guys are there, this is going to be like that Super Bowl when they couldn't stop putting the camera on Kurt Warner's wife. But for the worst reason. She got some love for the best reasons.
Yeah, why is Brenda Warner taking shrapnel from these two idiots?
I'm just saying. That's the most memorable one to me where they kept panning to a fan, besides A.J. McCarron's wife.
Or maybe Taylor Swift.
Taylor gets a lot of airtime. But she's the most famous person in the world. Besides,
True.
Kate Middleton or something. I don't know. Anywho, 855-212-4227. Clint is in Texas, wants to talk about bad fan behavior. We have a poll up right now at Maggie and Pearl. Is fan behavior worse now than it was back in the day? Hey, Clint.
Hey, guys. Hey, if they let those guys back in the stadium, they're obviously connected. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
They're made men. All right, the weirdest and saddest tap out I've ever seen was when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear.
Oh, that's a great one, Clint. How do we miss that one? He
I
was
don't know.
desperate.
To me, that
he was
one
cornered.
was
Yep.
Crazy. Hey, do you guys, I was reading a story last year, came across this story, and I just could not believe what I was reading. 1974, the title of the story was Why Major League Baseball Ended 10-Cent Beer Night. It was in Cleveland.
Yep.
They ran out of beer. The fans overturned the beer truck, and then they started a riot, went out on the field, and were attacking the Rangers players. And the Indians players, their manager told them to grab bats and go out on the field and defend the Rangers players. I mean, holy cow.
Oh, my gosh. Clint, I didn't know about that. I've heard of, obviously the Disco Derby Demolition. That was in Detroit, right?
Chicago.
Chicago. Disco Demolition Night.
I thought I was living in an alternate reality that I'd never even heard that story before. I was thinking, is this guy making this stuff up? So
10-Cent Beer Night. I'm seeing here an oral history of 10-Cent Beer Night written by Cleveland Magazine back in May. We'll definitely check that out. When Clint was talking about Mike Tyson, though, I want to make sure we're bringing the audience all up to speed if you're just joining us. Our great debate today on this Wednesday is what's the worst tap outs in the history of sports. Anthony Richardson took himself out of the game on Sunday. Got us thinking about players who quit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's did Tyson, was he quitting or was he trying to win the fight by biting off his ear?
No, Tyson said after he didn't train properly.
Yeah.
He was just desperate and wanted a way out.
Yeah. Oh, so he was ending the fight right there. I think I don't think he thought anything. I think he was just caught up in the moment. The ear was right there and he chomped down.
Well, that's the thing about Tyson. You'll believe anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was thought out in any. So you're saying instead of just quitting, he decided to bite his ear. That was where his thinking was.
Yeah, he said that.
That's what he said, yeah.
And also remember, he was warned earlier in the fight for biting, or in that same round, I think. So he actually bit him. Mills Lane says, hey, stop biting, dude. And then he bit his ear off.
I don't think it's rational, though. I think it's like Grayson Allen kicking guys in the junk. I think it was just one of those compulsive moments.
A lot of people would always say Evander Holyfield did a lot of headbutting. And so he would that was sort of his way to get under people's skin. But Tyson he didn't take the fights seriously enough. I think at that point, not training.
I mean, come on. Tyson Buster Douglas is the ultimate. Well, talking about a real time. By the way, did we mention Sonny Liston?
The fan of punch.
Yeah, I mean, boxing probably has a lot of fishy knockouts. I don't know if those are tap outs or those illegal throwing the fight.
855-212-4227. All right, keep them coming. The worst tap outs in the history of sports is our great debate today. You can tell us about, do Do you think the Yankees are getting back in this thing? And if they win tonight, does all the pressure go now on to the Dodgers? Do they start to get a little tight? Got a series on our hands. It's Maggie and Perloff. All right, Perloff. You and I don't even have conversations anymore. There's no hi, hello. There's no good morning. It's just how'd your Prize Picks do last night? This is it. This is our whole relationship boiled down to Prize Picks. And, it's the best move we ever made because Prize Picks is the place to get real money sports action while watching the NBA, football, World Series. You got 10 million members, billions of dollars in awarded winnings, and Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Simple to use. You pick 2 or more players across any sport, then just pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 100 times your money.
Yeah, so I wake up this morning. What's the first thing I do? I don't go to the bathroom. I don't hug my wife. I immediately look to see what Jonathan Kuminga did last night. 17 points. I picked under 19.5s. Hello. Prize Picks even invented the flex space, so you can cash out if one of your picks doesn't hit. All you have to do is download the Prize Picks app and use code MNP to get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Took my love, took it down.
This one goes out to all the lonely hearts, including 7-time Super Bowl champion Thomas Edward Brady. Turns out Gisele's pregnant with the jiu-jitsu instructor's kid. And Tom Brady took to Instagram to post lyrics to Landslide. I hope someone's calling this guy to check on him. This is kind of extreme, right? And a little too on the nose. It's not subtle.
No, I think it shows an emotional maturity. Like, he can handle the seasons of his life. Like, he's the mature one here. Like, she's obviously like, this is not painting a good picture for Gisele.
You think it's mature to put this on social media?
Yeah.
Like, they have 2 kids together.
Maggie, I don't think you understand the point of the song. It's about resilience.
I know, I get it. There's no other interpretation you can have for this. I'm just wondering, why is he putting it out there for the whole world? Why not just, let this one go?
Oh, that's
sort
interesting.
I don't know. They're divorced now. Like, maybe she can just sort of live her life and he can kind of live his.
But it's sort of, I mean, the one thing is the story is out there everywhere. Like, it's all over the tabloids. It's not like he can make the story go away by ignoring it.
No, but he also doesn't have to acknowledge it in any way. There's no way this is a coincidence. He just wanted to post lyrics to Landslide for some other thing. Yeah, issues with Burkhart. Like, I don't think that's what's going on here.
I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but like, it's not like Tom Brady gets dinged for this. Like, who cares?
Oh, no. Yeah. I'm just surprised he would put it out there. This is the headline from New York Magazine. Yeah, Tom Brady is going through it. Yeah, I mean, you call a friend.
I read the story the other day. It was the lead story on the New York Post. Tom Brady didn't know about the pregnancy until basically everyone else found out. And he doesn't, and apparently, according to this, a source close to a source says that they don't really talk.
They're divorced. Does she owe him that?
Well, if there was any doubt about who cheated on who, now it's 100% clear that Gisele screwed up the whole, like, this finalized, like, Giselle's the bad guy and he's the good guy. And that when you're the good guy,
it's that cut and dry, is it?
It's now it is. Maybe it wasn't before. Now it's 100% cut and dry.
There's nothing about him saying I'll retire and then flaking on that 30 days later.
So you sleep with your jiu-jitsu instructor because your football player husband goes back to playing football?
Well, first of all, we don't know if they actually cheated, but the second part is there's a little gray area on the timeline. But he didn't keep a promise, which was to put your family before football, and he broke that promise. I can understand why you might be fed up with that, and you're worried for his health and all of that.
Are you being serious right now? You're saying that it's okay to cheat on him because he went back to football?
We don't know if she was actually cheating on him. You don't know that, and I don't know
She's having a baby with a dude who is her jiu-jitsu instructor.
First of all, they got divorced and been separated a while ago. So the baby is definitely not happening while they were married. And I would just, let's go back. Listen, this is their own private relationship. That became very public because they're so famous. But I would just venture a guess that we have no idea what could have happened in the past. I mean, look at how they met. Bridget Moynihan was literally having Tom Brady's baby, and he broke up with her for Gisele. So people are people. To start assigning blame, I guess is where I'm going with this, is not right. This is funny, guys. This is funny. Tom Brady's posting lyrics to Landslide on Instagram. We can't laugh at this.
Right, but it's definitely like, wait, Bogus, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, obviously Gisele is not looking good in this one.
No, but we have no idea what actually happened. This is
Everybody
just
knows
new.
Giselle had an affair with a jiu-jitsu instructor. In the
Right,
guy,
but did
that's
she-
like common. That's the common take.
Okay.
That's what everybody thinks.
Because of the roast. We don't know the
but,
actual
like, that was
timeline.
We also don't know if, let's just say they did have a relationship. It could have been the result of Brady letting her down and her being over with him, or it could have been the reason that she was using the other story as a cover for her infidelity. We don't know.
Right.
It's on the table that she just liked this guy, and then we're like, oh, you lied to me up playing, Tom, I'm going to leave you, looking for sympathy. Or she could have been like heartbroken because Brady didn't do what he said he was going to do, and that pushed her into the arms of a jiu-jitsu instructor.
Oh my God, making going back on a career promise and cheating on your husband, like the two are not equivalent to me. Like there's nothing that can happen. Like, yeah, infidelity is far worse. Like any divorce, and in court, trust me, like she would not have a leg to stand on. Just because he said he wasn't going to play football anymore, who cares?
Well, I think we can all agree on this. When people get divorced, it's never for one thing.
It usually is cheating.
Well,
like
I
I'd
think
say
it's
75% of the time.
always a lot of things that contribute to it. Because some people have infidelity and they don't get divorced. So
Right. But the infidelity out trumps everything, right?
It's
I
just
would
so
think in a
funny
divorce.
because as we're talking about this, there's literally a tour that's coming through the radio station. We're talking about that. I just think it's hilarious to me. Not hilarious. I'm not laughing at his pain, but I kind of am. Just how Tom Brady would be this on the nose about the story comes out that Giselle's having a baby with someone else, and he's posting the words to a song that's like so well known for trying to get over a breakup.
I think we got this all wrong. I think he is trolling everybody. I think he thinks that everyone, because as soon as you hear about the pregnancy, everybody's gonna be like, well, what does Tom Brady think? He's smart enough. This guy's his own corporation.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady, he's in the roast game. He kind of likes being a guy's guy.
That's true.
I think he's like, these people really think I'm going to be, messed up over a divorce and now this pregnancy. Let me just have fun with them. He showed a sunset and this song lyrics on there. I mean, he's so obviously trolling everybody, being like, guys, it's fine.
Also,
I don't care.
How many supermodels has Tom Brady been linked to
I'm
since
sure.
they got divorced? Since the day the ink was dry?
He was probably with Irina Shayk when he posted that.
Yeah, he's an
laughing.
Uber driver on the side. He just takes them when they need to go.
You guys, you don't think Tom Brady was... So wait, you guys don't think Tom Brady was upset by this news?
I think he's like, whatever. I think he's done. I think he's done with that.
I think they're both done with each other.
Right. So he's like, oh, everyone thinks I'm so caught up. Okay, I'm going to do the cheesiest thing possible, the most non-self-aware thing possible, and let's see how many people believe it. And the people believe
Do you
it.
think has that good of a sense of humor?
I think he does.
Or somebody around him does?
Or someone does, yeah. I think so.
And now they're enjoying all the sympathy.
Yeah.
Because people think he's now been, what's
It's
the
a
word?
win-win.
Cuckolded? That's
Yeah.
a great word.
That is the word. It's a win-win.
Can we put out as a poll? Is Tom Brady, maybe this is too much explaining. Tom Brady's sad Instagram post, real or troll job?
I just think a couple things. I personally think you guys are way off on a couple things. The idea that there's a reason for infidelity other than like something really bad, like, come on. I think Brady is lit. Like that roast was, jokes are have a lot. You don't think that like this is a big problem for Tom Brady that his wife cheated on him? Like that is a huge issue. And I don't even if you make a joke out of it, that's a joke out of desperation. I think he's totally embarrassed.
I don't
by
think
this.
Kevin Hart, there could not be a better joke. I mean, or not better. There can't be a more scathing joke than what happened at the roast. Like every way you could dissect this has been dissected.
Yeah, but I still feel like he was sitting there uncomfortable. Like it's not good. Like, can you guys imagine if your partner cheated on you and everybody knew it? It's like the worst scenario possible, I think.
I'm just trying to remember the roast. How many of the jokes were explicitly about being cheated on or just running to the jiu-jitsu guy after the breakup? Like that was the rebound.
No, they were all about being cheated on, as I recall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I just remember the thing about
Where's Pete?
I just remember the thing about the
divorce.
bruises, and I was like, that is just so wrong. And also how Pete Pilati was very much right on the nose about this one. He said it was a terrible look that Tom would, have the mother of his children kind of hang her out to dry.
Well, but you know what? Pete might have a different tune this morning with this news that she's pregnant. with the other guy's baby. I'm not sure how he handles that.
If he's gonna stay consistent, he should say that this is wrong. He should say that that Giselle is breaking up the family, making things more complicated.
Right, can't do this to the kids. They're not ready. They just their dad just moved out of the house, and now you're having a new baby with a new guy. That's where he'd go here.
Oh man,
that's definitely the Bilotti.
No friend of Giselle.
See, I think it's the other way. It's like if you're gonna, let's say that it was cheating, but say then you actually, then you're with that person long term. It's like, all right, they really were meant to be. I think that's a happier ending. It wasn't just a fling. It wasn't for nothing. They're in love with each other, having a baby together.
I don't think if your husband left you today and 6 months from now with the same woman was engaged having a kid, you would not in any way.
I'd be happy for him.
Well, that makes sense.
Wait, bro, you don't think there's any
as I'm doing the Angela Bassett light his car on fire,
sharpening your
throwing
knife.
the keys behind me as I walk away in my bathroom.
Maybe I listen to way too many hip hop podcasts, but you don't think there's any chance that someone could have been in even a serious relationship with somebody and then just not care what happens after it's over? I see a lot of men talk about say I don't care, whatever.
There's a lot of. Isn't that the worst nightmare? That the word is that an okay word to say, cuckold? Like that's not what you want to be. Like that's famously throughout the history of literature and stuff like that's the worst thing you can be. It means you're just like totally the other person's inferior.
Well, that's true. I think maybe you're right that cheating angle makes it different. But just the idea of once your relationship is over with somebody, even if it was very serious, that whatever they do after, you just don't care.
Right, but
I feel like a lot of rappers would be like, I don't care what that.
Well, it's kind of hard to have kids with the person. Like,
no. If Tom Brady cheated on her, and then he wouldn't care at all. But the fact that she allegedly cheated on him makes it worse. Like if he had cheated on her and she broke up with him, and then she goes and finds a new husband, that's great. Brady's psyched about that. But that's not what's happening here, according to rumor mills.
I just thought it was funny that he wrote landslide. The landslide lyrics is amazing. But it wasn't the Stevie Nicks version. Dang you, Brady. So close.
Chicks. It was number 3. Like, it's not even the second best cover or the first best cover.
Smash Pumpkins?
Yeah, the Pumpkins were number 2.
Yeah. Oh, there's probably been 10 others, right?
Well, yeah, but on Apple Music, it was number 3 in this version.
Tom Brady likes the chicks.
Maybe somehow it's not on Instagram. Maybe he had no choice but to go to this.
No, I checked.
Oh, it is on there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird then.
We've done more research on this than any of the other football
Clearly.
stuff.
Do I hear something crazy about this song? Because I watched a Stevie Nicks documentary. She was 28 when she wrote this song. And it sounds like it's a lifelong, like, children grow up. Like, she didn't even really have children at the time.
She never has had children.
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks doesn't have
How did she write this song?
Well, Lindsey Buckingham will bring that out on you.
Yeah.
It was about Lindsey Buckingham, right?
Yeah. Well,
I think it was.
I think it was on their first album. I don't even think they had broken up yet.
It was on the deluxe album. Just because I bought the vinyl and I was very disappointed that it wasn't on it.
Well, anyway, it's a very wise song. I feel like it's like middle-aged children grow up, and she was like a very young person. She was in her 20s. I didn't know anything in my 20s. Ryan, you're in your 20s. You barely
you writing
you have
landslide?
any idea what's going on.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
But he's singing it. Now, didn't EJ not know who Fleetwood Mac was? Isn't that one of the bands? And Ryan has the deluxe, has the discography memorized.
No, I just have Rumors, because it's like one of the most famous albums of all time.
And EJ said, what?
What's Rumors?
What's
more Brady
Mac?
rumors? What? Another one pregnant?
He's back with Bridget. No, just kidding. That'd be a landslide. Bogish has headlines.
The Yankees are already in rare company, just the 4th team out of 25 to avoid a World Series sweep. None of the previous 3 got to Game 6. That is their goal tonight after extending their season with last night's 11-4 decision over the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman hit another 2-run first-inning homer, but Anthony Volpe put the Yankees in front for good with a 3rd-inning grand slam. Then Gleyber Torres removed all doubt in the 8th.
Here's the 1-1 to Gleyber. A fly ball to deep right. Betts going back. That ball is gone! It's Gleyber Day.
John Sterling on Yankee Radio, the 3-run homer, capping off a 5-run 8th for that 11-4 final. Jazz Chisholm on Seeing Another Day.
I feel like we came out, we attacked them. We got ready early to try and go out there, Volpe with a big swing. I mean, all around great game from everybody.
Tonight's pitching matchup, the same from Game 1. Jack Flaherty, Garrett Cole, first pitch in the Bronx schedule for 8:08 Eastern.
Man, what are we going to do about Sterling?
That does not sound good going towards Game 5.
Chicken noodle soup.
I mean, there's a couple broadcast things you can do. Just water is the best thing. Is you just got to chug water, but also you can get like steroids.
Yes, and there's there's teas and like cough drops that have extra special stuff like that. But yeah, that doesn't sound good.
But the game's 3.5 hours long. So you heard the 8th inning sounded way worse than the first.
And then has to maybe get back on a plane and do another game. And like the plane, I'm sure, is not great for all of that. Not good. There is now an arrest warrant for Lions wideout Jamison Williams, who is currently serving a 2-game PED suspension after a 6-game gambling ban last season. Williams was riding in a car that was pulled over October 8th in Detroit. There was a gun under his seat, which he told police about, but he did not have a concealed carry permit. He was apparently incorrectly released from custody that night. A local TV station began asking questions, and now Detroit PD is responding.
This guy might be bad news.
This one actually... This doesn't seem like the worst one to me. Like, a lot of people drive illegally with a gun in their car. I'm not saying it's good.
I know, but it's just he can't stay out of the news.
Is it the accumulation of things with him?
Well, I mean, the gambling stuff you could almost blame on just kind of stupidity.
Right.
But it's actually, to be fair, it's better that he came clean about the gun being in the car to the cops. You don't want to lie about something like that.
Right. This is like paperwork, like a clerical error more than like actual like mischievous criminal behavior. And since they both said right away, him and his brother in the car, that the guns were there. But it's a lot in like 2.5 years to start your career.
Still, that being said, like he doesn't have the one final nail in the coffin yet on his career. Like, he's okay right now.
Yeah, I mean, the PD thing, which he said he took, accidentally, which is everybody's story. Like, that's the one thing where he seems to maybe have directly, knowingly broken a rule that mattered.
Well, he should have the paperwork for the gun.
Yeah, I feel like the gun thing is like...
Don't they do these Ricky symposiums and stuff?
Yeah.
I think they go through this kind of thing.
Yeah, but we know so many athletes carry guns, right?
I know, but you can do it legally. No one's saying take it away from him. It's just do it legally. Go through the proper channels.
Nikola Jokic's latest crazy stat line came last night in Brooklyn.
Inside the arc over to Jokic. Jokic goes to work. He gets in the paint. Hook shot. Good. 8.8 seconds left to go. Denver ties the ball game up at 125.
That's Jason Kosmiski on Nuggets Radio. Jokic forcing OT, where Denver won 114-139 after trailing by 17 in the first half to the Nets. He finished with 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists. Only Oscar Robertson had a game with that many of all three. Kyrie and Luka combining for 59 points as the Mavs down the T-Wolves 120-114, and the Warriors rallied from 20 down in the first half to beat the Pelicans 124-106. Zion scored 31 in defeat. And from the NHL, Alex Ovechkin that much closer to Wayne Gretzky.
Here's a puck turned over. Protas in front, and he scores! It's Ovechkin! Off the faceoff, Protas feeds it across! It's a multi-goal game for the Great Eight!
John Walton on Caps Radio. Ovechkin scoring twice in a 5-3 win over the Rangers. He now has 856 career goals, which means he needs 38 to pass Gretzky for the most all time. Guys, back to you.
So when are they going to start making some kind of arrangements for what is hockey going to do to commemorate this? I imagine Wayne's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, based off of what he did last year, he's not going to score 38 more goals this year. It's not guaranteed to happen this year. So I don't know how
multi-goal games though.
Yeah, I don't know how far along the path of planning that they are. But it makes no sense that this is even feasible. Like, nobody thought 890 whatever was ever touchable. And this guy is well within striking distance.
Yeah, and I think Gretzky's going to be gracious about it.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
He has every other award, so
that's true.
In record.
But, this is a tough one because when someone's chasing something like this and you're not exactly sure what's going to happen, you remember back to when Aaron Judge was chasing the American League home run record and basically I'm blanking on
dragging the Maris family
around?
Maris
family had to go to Canada.
Yeah.
They had already done the whole mid-Atlantic region waiting for him to hit it in Baltimore and then had to get the passports out to go to Toronto.
They got a lot of free tickets to baseball games. I think that was fun for them.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've been to playing baseball games. They are the Marises.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like being a clown and get a ticket to the circus.
Yeah, I don't know. The Yankees did not embrace the Marises for a long time. They were not super friendly to that. To Roger.
That is true. St. Louis though always loved them. I mean, like they were there for the McGuire stuff.
Yeah, but you would think they've been to a few games. But yeah, they ended up having to basically go globetrotting.
Yeah. I mean, they famously, like, the Marises got screwed by the Yankees, right? Yeah. Isn't that the thing? But, yeah, I don't know. I'll go for a ride if somebody wants to take me. I'll follow Ovechkin around.
Put that on a T-shirt. Andrew Ruff, I'll go for a ride if someone wants to take me. What are you, Labrador Retriever?
Like, have you seen the Marises at any game since?
Sure, they don't want to go back. That's my point.
They're going to baseball games. They're not going to the dentist office. It sounds like fun.
They're tapping out.
By the way, the camera's too busy trying to find Jabroni 1 and Jabroni 2, who were interfering with Mookie Betts last night, to have any time for the Marises. 855-212-4227. Okay, we've got lots to do, including see you guys on the phone. We're asking today's great debate, the worst tap outs of all time. Get back to you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
She's found a way of Peter Bellatti's at home.
Oh, Peter Bellatti's pissed as hell. Giselle's got a secret she didn't fucking tell. Had Brady's baby, Tom don't know. But where the hell's Peter? No show after no show. He's bitching about Giselle, her secret kid, but his own damn job he's nowhere he hid. Bogush keeps wondering, where's Pete today? Left us hanging again, like every damn day. Dropping F-bombs, talking Tom's mess, while his empty chair just adds to the stress. Bogush is stuck, covering his slack, looking around like, will Pete come back? Swear like hell by Tom's mystery son, but showing up to work, he's gone, he's done. Forget Giselle and Brady's life. Peter's job's a real mystery, his endless strife. Yeah. Bogush is wondering, where the fuck is he? Every time he checks, Pete's MIA, can't see. And we're pulling his weight, shift after shift, while Pete's home maybe, or just drifting adrift. It's about Brady, like it's his goddamn right, but coming to work, man, he's out of sight. Giselle and her drama, who gives a shit? Bogush and us, we're the ones getting hit. So keep talking that talk, Pete, they'll just fine, but show up or stop wasting our goddamn time. Bogush is tired, we're all fed up. Peter Bellotti, just shut the fuck up. About Tom's Mr. Son, but showing up to work, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. Bogush is still in Brady's life. Peter's job's a real mystery, his endless streak, his endless strife. Swearing like hell about Tom's mystery son, but showing up to work, he's gone, he's done. Forget Giselle and Brady's life. Peter's job's a real mystery, his endless strife, his endless strife. His endless strife. wondering, where the fuck is he? Every time he checks, Pete's MIA, can't see. And we're pulling his weight, shift after shift. While Pete's home may be a mystery, his endless strife.
1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
So much going on today. Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Got a lot of different things on the burners here. So we got question for you. If the Yankees win tonight, does the pressure now go squarely on the Dodgers as the series would go back to L.A.? Yankees have Garrett Cole on the mound tonight. They're ace. We have a great debate for you. The worst tap out in the history of sports. This is loosely inspired by Anthony Richardson, who took himself out of the game on Sunday. That's not one of the worst.
No. That was relatively harmless, although he might have gotten benched for it. We have some all-timers here.
Yeah. You have Scottie Pippen.
I think mine is the best piece of the actual moment. 1.8 seconds left in a decisive, not a key playoff game, but I think EJ's is the funniest.
Yeah, Antonio Brown leaving that Jets game was an all-timer because of how insane it was. But mine is Roberto Duran literally said, "No mas."
Also, that's big because that was one of the biggest fights in history because Duran, it was the only person who could beat Sugar Ray Leonard.
And no one remembers now, a generation later, that Duran was one of the great boxers of all time.
Oh, I think people remember. There's a movie recently about Hands of Stone. People remember he's one of the greats.
But I think the shorthand, if someone says Roberto Duran, you were just doing word association, it'd be no mas, not Sugar Ray Leonard 2,
I would think that.
Brawl in Montreal.
But people know he was great, I hope. He was all time. I'm a big Sugar Ray Leonard fan. I'll watch any documentary, any film of him. Awesome.
Charles in Maine has one we have not mentioned yet. Hey, Charles.
Hi, good morning. Late to the show, so I apologize. I would have said Roberto Duran as well. I remember watching that on ABC's Wide World of Sports when it happened, and Howard Cosell was broadcasting it, and it was unbelievable at the time, back in '82. But I have an alternative spin here. The worst non-tap out in the history of sports was Matt Harvey insisting on going back out for the ninth inning in the 2015 World Series, and
that's the
tapped out.
That's Charles. That will be another great debate. And thank you. Sorry, we're up against it, but talking your way back into a game is the opposite. But there was Matt Harvey also didn't show up once for a game because it was Cinco de Mayo. Now he was having a little too much fun in New York City. But we also got onto a topic about bad fan behavior because of the two Yankee fans last night who tried to wrestle the ball away from Mookie Betts in foul territory. Our pal Big Friendly is on the line. We were asking, is fan behavior worse today than it was back in the day? Big Friendly, what do you think?
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call, Maggie. And Bogsy Ogsy, I'm glad you're back and healthy. And if I would have known you better, I would have sent you a text asking you how you were doing. So, real quick, since I'm older, Bogsy Ogsy, I'm still upset about that Rams draft answer you gave me. So real quick, I'm 48, so I'm older than all of you guys except Bogish. And I remember going to games in the 80s. And today, I think with the prices increased you guys talk about, fans seem more entitled. Now, I'm not upset about the gentleman fighting for the ball in the glove with bets because I think anybody who's been to a game has all been guilty of being overzealous to try to get to a ball. But the gentleman grabbing his wrist, he should be excavated from any sports anywhere.
No, wait, Big Friendly, hold on. They're both in the wrong. You can't let one of these dudes off the hook.
Wait.
No.
It's a tag team, right? Like, that's what's unique about this. The two guys are working in tandem. It's amazing.
Yeah. Now, look. I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you're right. It's the worst ever because there were two of them to me. This is the worst fan interference I've ever seen.
It was coordinated and calculated. Big Friendly, we found out from the ESPN article that these two dudes sit around sometimes hatching a plan of what would happen if a ball comes their way, and they said they would D them up.
Well, that's fine. Like I said, I'm not upset about going for the ball. Like, I don't agree with the gentleman ripping it out of his glove, but we've all been guilty of trying to get a ball being over-aggressive. The gentleman grabbing Mookie Betts offhand, that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
But apparently
thank you for taking my...
Oh, you too, Big Friendly. Thanks for calling. But apparently they're going to be, according to them, they're welcome back to the game tonight.
I think Big Friendly is saying when you're fighting with a fellow fan, it's okay. I do think, like, that's a real topic. Like, if a third baseman comes, that happens a lot. Like,
what would you do?
How respectful do you have to be to that third baseman, especially if he's on the other team?
Yeah, I would risk getting, like, roasted by my home fans, but you got to clear back. I think you hold people back, you know.
But also, let's face it, a lot of times it's not about rooting for one team or the other. It's wanting to get that foul ball. Because the third baseman for the Twins has caught a lot of foul balls in his life. I would want that foul ball to bring home. That's what they're really going for most of the time.
Oh, man. I don't know if we have enough time to do this. We do? Okay, so off the topic of fan behavior and unruly fan behavior, we thought this was just so funny. If you guys aren't paying attention to Joe Mazzulla, the head coach of the Celtics, we're not even saying you have to watch the Celtics game. We're talking about this dude, and some of the things he says are just bananas. Joe Mazzulla, on a radio interview yesterday, says he thinks the NBA should allow fighting.
Some people are, from an entertainment standpoint, is you can't fight anymore. We should just bring back, fighting.
I'm sorry, what did you say? He said, fighting is entertaining.
I mean, you want to talk about robbing the league of entertainment. What's more entertaining than a little scuffle?
I agree.
How come in baseball they're allowed to clear the benches? How come in hockey they're allowed to fight? I don't understand.
Is that McAfee?
No, this was 98.5, the hub in Boston.
Yeah, he's in Boston.
I love
This
it.
dude's a madman.
That guy's like, I agree.
That's Boston for you.
Right. Oh, just square off in every timeout. No, listen, hockey, it's ingrained in the culture.
Hockey is way more complicated than that. There are a lot of people who think the sport is worse without the real fighting.
Yeah, guys are wearing helmets, at least to start a lot of these fights. I don't know. The bench is clearing in baseball. Guys get ejected for that. There are often consequences, bad consequences, when that kind of stuff happens, if guys start throwing punches. I'm telling you, if David Stern were still alive, rest his soul, he would call up Joe Mazzulla and he would scream at him for an hour for saying something like that. What coach is advocating for people to fight? It's I'm sorry, so do you want Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to break a jaw?
That's the weird thing, too. He doesn't really have enforcers on that team.
Yeah, Marcus Smart is gone.
Right. The only guy I've seen fight is Porzingis, and he was leaving a club in Poland bloodied up. I don't think he's got guys I want to throw down.
Mazzulla is a trip.
He might be passing Doc Rivers for wild, weird things being said. We might have to find something for Mazzulla every day.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got to take our segment away from WTF Aaron Rodgers and give it to Mazzulla.
Maybe.
Rodgers, it's kind of irrelevant now.
Though he did say, he's eating cayenne pepper and drinking water, and that's making him healthy thanks to Thomas Morstead. So we had that. I think Rodgers will hang around for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if it's not inducing some kind of psychedelic nightmare, then I'm not really interested. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Ryan Botcher, Andrew Bogish. So glad to have him back. Andrew Kaplan, Widows and Coffee Drinkers. See you tomorrow.
What happened?